Okay. Peace. Welcome everybody. Gonna get started here in a second. Welcome. Good to see everybody once again. It's been a while. It's been quite a while. Since me and the brother MOE FACTZ of the MOE FACTZ channel have gotten together and had a discussion. We got a heavy discussion here today, which we surely won't finish today just because it's such a deep topic and we have so many things we want to say, and we're going to be fleshing out these ideas over time. But yeah, man, let's get it started. I want to introduce, of course, brother MOE FACTZ. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good, Days. How about yourself?
Doing excellent, man. Excellent. Just ready to dive into this. We've been mulling some ideas over for some time, and now is the time where we really come to the table and we're able to really speak on it. Before we really just dive into the topic, you want to say any opening things? I know you've been doing tons of work. I got a great channel over there. You got well-known podcast with Adam Curry that's been going on for a long time. Why don't you just give a short little introduction to yourself for those that might not be familiar with your work and what brings you here?
So just from the beginning, I started off with a YouTube channel. Actually, I started calling in on the Star Report. That's where I got my start. And then that led to me meeting Adam Curry. Actually off of just a Twitter DM. I didn't know him before then. I was a listener and producer of his show, No Agenda, and the conversation of reparations came up, and I hit him with a DM, and that DM lasted maybe about 5 hours. Wow. And subsequent conversations, and he was like, "How would you like to take this conversation public?" I mean, it's like, it wasn't really a planned show or nothing like that. And it just became something that I don't think will ever be repeated, where two men of quote unquote different races sit down and have an honest conversation, putting offense to the side. And we're 97 episodes in. We'll be ending it at 100. But there'll be future work between me and him as well. And of course, I'll do my own thing on YouTube. That's more pop culture, politics, all the kitchen sink. And, and most of all, I am a professional spectator. And that's how that's how I met you. Just watching a ton of content. Actually, I met you pre everything I just stated. You were one of the first people that put together a serious video on the Boule, which is, for people that don't know, that's the professional fraternity, and quote unquote, you could say professional fraternity, but also that term represents the elite of black society. And you put that video together, and I was like, "Who is this brother?" and I need to know him, because it was when you did that video, it wasn't a highly used term.
Yeah, that was back in, I think, 2016. Yeah,
I want to say maybe 15, 16.
16.
I don't think 45 Savage was in office then.
No, it was definitely before Donald. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I blessed to meet you, then met Unplug 'em, Big Unk through you, because you said you need to go check him out on one of your videos. So I met him, blessed, so I'm not to belabor the point, but that's just been my journey, and it's no really path, just follow my heart and follow the facts, pretty much. And as I always say on the show, paying attention to everything, the truth will reveal itself. So that's what I do.
Absolutely. Pay attention to everything. And we're definitely paying attention to what we've been seeing as of late, man. I mean, it's a pretty, I guess, it's a complex topic, right? Like that's for sure. But there's several areas I think we can touch on first. Definitely everyone's been introduced to, I mean, even Ben Shapiro has been doing stuff on this. I mean, I've been seeing a lot of people coming out talking about, this whole CIA attacking the black community. Alex Jones did some stuff. A bunch of people are all of a sudden coming out and talking about this. And, we've been talking about these things for years. People before us have been talking about these things for years. If we think about, of course, Mr. Coakley and many others, this is not new news, but all of a sudden this, the more bigger internet YouTube platforms seem to be running with these ideas. And I just think it's time to get I'd say a different perspective. I would even argue a more accurate perspective on some of these things. And I thought no one better than you to bring on and really break this stuff down to at least our best ability. And so clearly there's the issue with the music industry, right? I guess what the focus has been for some time, and I've spent a lot of time talking about these things, is the violent culture, the death culture, the drug culture of like new age hip hop. Actually, not even hip hop, new age rap music. And that's been more so my focus when it comes to this type of culture. But now it seems to be this new female element that's sparked since at least the last few years. I mean, I know Nicki Minaj kind of brought it back and Cardi B picked things up, and then we had Megan Thee Stallion, and now we have Ice Spice, and recently Sexy Red. And it's just strange because it's this clearly a type of stripper culture that has turned into entertainment rap music. And for me, it's odd to see this type of what I would term degenerate culture becoming a type of like popularized flavor of music, even enjoyed by children. And it's crazy when you see death culture type murder music being praised and exposed to children very early in their life, but now we have this hypersexual, nearly pornographic type of music being presented. So it's this, you're getting this attack from two sides. And of course, there's always accountability. I always understand that, but there is definitely a long systematic, or should I say systemic, development of this type of culture corporately. And it's become a massive business and industry and market that I personally believe exploits and almost feeds on the vulnerability of certain groups. And it has become enculturated, which makes it systemic. A system has been designed through the process of people trying to make it out of certain situations, maybe having looser moral practices mixed with all types of pathologies that we could possibly go into later. But then also the intrigue and the prestige of pop culture, fame, riches, etc. So it's this really cyclical type of thing where people are brought into the world in ways that let's just say makes them vulnerable, and people make the wrong decisions. And there's an entire market that capitalizes on this. Unfortunately, it becomes a real culture, and it damages a people and other people groups as well. This whole type of thing is now it's been diffused out into the outer cultures, and I just see it as being a very debilitating type of thing. There's clearly a type of Frankfurt School flavor to a lot of it. This is
Definitely.
Yes, right. This is
Definitely.
designed to destroy families, to destroy culture, to literally systematically deconstruct societies. And it's happening. It's been happening, but now it's becoming just very, very apparent. So those two areas I think are really good points for at least for today's talk: hypersexuality and of course the hyper violence. But then I'd like to demystify some of that too, and I think you're going to really help out there and giving some different perspectives. What would you say about these things?
Can I give one perspective?
Yeah.
Just to highlight that we're not in new territory. And what I mean by that is, if you look 100 years ago, you had the same type of thing going on. The hyper violence with the gangs going on,
Yes.
gangster, mentality. And it's another term that I brought up in several shows of mine, is the flapper.
Mm.
And the flapper, if you're not familiar with it, it's the lady with the hat.
Absolutely.
You know, and I don't know if you can bring it up on the screen while I'm talking
The
about it, but
20s
that's
era,
what,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
And what was big there was the technology of the radio.
Mm-hmm.
It was the medium for pumping out ideas to wide swaths of people. And so now you need things to put on the radio. Hence, you have black people, black culture, quote unquote, black people. And I say that because that wasn't representative of black people, but it was the manufacturer culture, the cotton club, money going to neighborhoods that they wouldn't go in the daytime and partaking in debauchery and that kind of behavior under the cloak of night. The same thing that's going on now with the internet, social media, OnlyFans. So we've been here before. The hypersexualization of black women. One of the things we celebrate is who? Josephine Baker. What's the most famous picture of her? Butt naked with bananas on her breast.
Yes, absolutely.
There's a lot there. I mean, just that image in itself, and that's black history.
There we go. Let's see. Let me pull that one up. Yes.
If you look at Josephine Baker, just type that in. One of the most famous pictures of her, and she was portrayed, I forget the actress name, on an HBO movie back in the 90s in the same way. And there was this jungle boogie kind of thing going on then. It's the same thing now. So we're not in new territory. You get a new technology, you had to fill it up with content. Same with the radio. So then you go new music, trap music, jazz, same thing. And you pump this image of and then this is kind of foreshadowing what we talk about DYSGENICS and EUGENICS, the low vibrations of black people and the high vibrations of non-black people or quote unquote white people. So we're seeing the same thing now.
Yes, this definitely isn't anything new for sure. I like how you went all the way back there. I tend to go back to the blaxploitation era and that whole movement. But yeah, man, we could go all the way back to Josephine Baker.
Well, every time you get a new technology, it's the same thing.
It's kind of guided by the development of, well, we can't say completely guided, but it's at least informed and influenced significantly by the development of the technology of the time. And that's actually probably my main argument with today is it isn't as if we are more violent, especially if we look at some of the statistics, it would suggest actually less violent in some ways, but we're seeing more violence because the technology affords it, right? We have,
and
go ahead.
No, I was going to say the Italians fought this same stigma. The Irish fought the same stigma. In the times I'm talking about, and fast forward now, but one thing they never did was let black people shake that stigma. That's the thing. Everybody agreed, we'll move away from this. And, there's a lot of Italian people that are very upset with mafia movies and the betrayal. It's like, that's bad. That makes us all look like, low life gangsters, and they push back against it. But one thing about black people, how the media paints it is, if you don't embrace this, you're not black. That's the difference.
That reminds me of that whole Biden situation. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. It's just crazy, man. But then again, you see the manipulation there, right? And it's manipulating and playing on that very influential racial consciousness that, especially as Americans, we've developed through the years, from the civil rights movement, etc. So it makes sense. It has a precedent, right? But it's the exploitation of that's problematic. And I mean, once we get more into the race concept, I think we could touch on this idea and how it's blinding in many ways, right?
And just another example is daytime television. The same thing with the with the advent of daytime television, they flooded that zone with what? Ricky Lake, Jerry Springer, Maury Povich, these television shows that were having conversations, and painting Black people in a very bad light. Now, Black people were willing participants, so we can't look. That's where the conversation gets tough.
Yes,
because you can't say that they didn't participate, but a hungrier person will eat anything you feed them.
Yes.
So it's a very nuanced conversation that you don't absolve the people participating in it of their actions. But as we see with, just go right now, we see a lot of very rich people on OnlyFans. We see a lot of very, established artists, established actresses that are, succumbing to the lack of a better word, the whore culture.
Yeah.
So it's like I said, it's a tough conversation, and I'll wrap on this point with this. It's a collaboration between the Boule, which we talked about. You made this pivotal video that brought us together, and the lower rung of Black society.
Yes. And
they
go ahead.
No, but they sit in these rooms and say that's their value to white corporations. The Boule sits in these rooms. Hey, I know how to target Black people. Put this in the commercial. These are the artists you need to get. And then they go down with a big bag of money, and you're gonna line up. They're gonna line up around the corner with another movie that I always like to allude to movies that people may be aware of. Hollywood Shuffle. You have highly trained actors and actresses that went to highly trained schools playing slaves, pimps, whores, all of these things, because that's the only roles available.
Absolutely. And it's always been the case. There's always been a form of the Boule. I guess, if we go all the way back to the fields and the house slaves, and the different the breakaway mulatto slavers, that could have been considered the earliest version of the Boule. So there's always been this hierarchical, what some call pigmentocracy, that's related to standard of living and, let's say, value, right? This value scale based on the constructs of race that have been a major and massive part of the development of America, for people that want to be honest about it. And it's just fascinating to see how, and think about this, it wasn't that long ago, right?
No.
Right? Like, if we think about the Chinese culture, thousands and thousands of years of history and culture, development, tradition. When we think about our history and traditions and culture, it's not too long ago, we were on fields. So it's when you think about that in juxtaposition to other cultures that have far, far longer histories, it's pretty wild to think about. And I'd even say to be thankful for how far we've come in such a short period of time.
And that's one thing people don't understand is once the shackles were literally taken off of, because the mental shackles replaced the physical shackles. But once the physical shackles came off, there was such a rocket takeoff of literacy, of wanting to, it's well recorded, you can look it up, of people wanting to learn trades and crafts and things like that, that it became a real threat to how America was structured. Because America, what people don't understand is, this is where it gets uncomfortable, Abraham Lincoln said it himself, America was a nation, the great emancipator. That's why I always like to use him. The great emancipator said that this was a nation built for white men. So now you have these newly freed slaves with this work ethic because they've been kept down, and they're kind of tipping and tipping the balance a little bit, and it makes the structure of what America was built for a little rocky. So that's when you start getting the black codes and
Yes.
Jim Crow laws and this thing to reestablish that, well, this glass ceiling. And like you hear the glass ceiling conversation for women and nobody bats an eye. But if you hear a glass ceiling conversation around race, then that's when it gets difficult, because race is meant to be divisive, because the core of race is dividing.
Yes.
Because race is a construct. And you were talking behind the scenes, but I said, this was cemented for me when I started working in a corporate environment with people around the world, and there were Indian people that were darker than me, but there was no solidarity there, because it's like, it's not built around pigment, it's built around culture.
Yes.
What we're taught is built around pigment.
Yes. Absolutely, man. And that even goes for the whole FBA versus Pan-African scenario.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge right now. I mean, it's just somewhat of a war, actually.
And that's one of the first conversation me and Adam had, because to explain to him, and not to bring him into it, but just to explain that conversation to anybody, I'm at a simple analogy. That's like bringing an Asian Indian to America and calling them Indian and try to give them Native American reservation land.
Yes. Yes.
That would be totally weird. But you say, but they're Indian and they're Indian. What's the problem?
Yeah.
If you say it like that, it makes clear sense. It's like, you can't do that. There's two different kind of Indians. But when you do that with quote unquote black, because they're black and they're all black, and this term black was created itself,
Yes.
It was manufactured. It was kind of, I don't want to talk too much, but black was hijacked just like woke was hijacked.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Black meant something totally different than what it means today. Black meant, finding racial pride in yourself. Black used to be an insult.
Yeah.
Because like the older people were like, you don't call me black. I'm not black. But the younger people like, no, we're going to embrace this, and make it our own. James Brown, famous song, helped with that.
Yes.
But then it was, like you said, now now we go right back to where you went to, the black exploitation. Oh, this is what black is: sniffing cocaine and Shaft and Superfly and Cadillacs, platform shoes and afros and processes. Mm-hmm. That's black.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And now we have a new version of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the new version of that we're seeing, at least a really significant part, is the Sexy Red phenomenon. I mean, this girl is like, she's a superstar. It's kind of crazy. She's so famous. I don't know, man. She's been around, less than a couple years? And
they're going to show you that, like, if you, by the terms of hip hop, she shouldn't be where she's at.
No way.
She doesn't have the lyrical content, but this is the manufacturing, and this is why I go back to the flappers. It's like whoever decides who goes on the main stage at the Cotton Club, they have the power. Because they're the one deciding who everybody else likes. Because here's the thing about being black, and this is term that's used, they get in the bag though. So when you're poor and you start getting money, the money kind of justifies your actions.
Yes. Well said.
Which made it weird with the whole drug thing. It's like, yeah, you're selling your auntie crack, but you got the bag though.
Mm-hmm.
And the unwritten secret nobody talks about is like, oh, they're supposed to be Robin Hood. They're gonna get enough money, secure enough money where they're gonna sneak us out. They're gonna get us out of this. It never works that way. Yeah. Jay-Z is the perfect example.
Yeah, like a modern Harriet Tubman story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just let them get the bag. Mm-hmm. We don't care how they get it, and then they're gonna, get us to freedom.
As if what you do to get that bag isn't corrupting you spiritually and morally. Right? As if however you get the bag doesn't have consequences. right?
Well, the greater good. This is where that term gets sticky at.
Exactly.
The greater good. And
What
and
if murder? What if murder is part of the greater good? You know, it's like.
Well, here's the thing. This is a learned behavior by our country and this world. Don't we say that as a country and
Yes.
as a global government? Hey, we got to break some eggs to make some omelets. So this is where really you can't look down on your nose. If you live in a moral life, you can, but this governing body of this world, they don't care. They go, oh, we want that oil, we're going to take it. We want that tungsten, we're going to take it. We want that lithium, we're going to take it. We want your land, eminent domain, we're going to take it. That's bullying.
Yes.
So how can you look at somebody that actually needs this to eat? Another person, Glorilla, which I have a whole problem with her.
Oh my god, I got a clip of her I'm gonna play in a minute.
Yeah. That imagery of just calling yourself a monkey, that just, yeah,
it's disturbing.
That's a problem in itself. But she says, I didn't know what a bed was. I thought everybody slept on air mattresses. So when you look at it from that perspective, it's like, well, at least I'm not doing it and I'm just rapping about it. See, here's where the justification comes in that. You got a point. I still don't agree with it because I'm a moral person. But you got a point. And then the people that's governing us, stay in your house, take what you have, fire you when you want to, straight bullies.
Yes.
Go to the Middle East, kill 1 million people, oops, off bad information. We slide on our ops. Now we say it like that, oh, it looks different, right? A couple of buildings fell here, we slide on our ops. Yeah, we hit some innocents, but hey, this is what we got to do. We had to spin the block.
It's interesting when it comes from a different angle, yeah.
When you say it like that, it sounds different, right? But it ain't different.
Yeah, it ain't. Nah. Yeah.
And the people doing it ain't that dumb. You think they don't understand it like that, but that's why they like Trump. That's why they like 45 Savage. But guess what? Because he stands on business, is how they say it. That bravado and that we're going to take what we want. And Tupac has said that, you know what I'm saying? Trump, take is a clip of him saying that back in the 90s. That's why he resonated through hip hop. No, that's what, so we learn this behavior and then we're condemned for it. When I say we, because I never separate myself from my people because I understand it. You know what I'm saying? If I'm hungry, you can't, because the Bible say that. It say, God, someone in Proverbs say, bless me enough where I don't have to steal.
Yes.
Hey, I've never been in that position before, so I can't look down on my nose at a person that's been in that position, that has a knot in their stomach and ain't thinking straight.
I think what you're getting at is we can't look down on one group of people for doing something more than another group of people. Same thing.
Oh man, we gotta have. If we're gonna do it, we gotta put all injustice on the table.
Yeah, I hear that, and I agree with that logically. It's sound, right? But what I always seem to consider is like, you get this argument a lot with violence too, right? They'll say, oh, well, white folks is doing this too. Go to other countries. It's like, it's always the whataboutism. And I get that. I understand those arguments. But then what always seems to grab me is let's say every people group isn't suffering in the same way, right? Doesn't suffer from the same pathologies or problems, right? Let's just say the degrees of pathology. So all people groups suffer from some level of, whether it be poverty or violence, what have you. But all populations and people groups aren't the same size, right? They're all not suffering from the same things to the same degree. So my view is like, I've always looked at it like, I get it, but our particular group is suffering in a way that is pretty significant and has a high effect on our success, our ability to succeed in the world and to produce things of value. So though, sure, other groups are doing similar things, it is imperative and it's very important that we figure out how we can operate differently because we're in a lot of trouble. We could put it this. And
I agree with you, because
yeah.
I want to be, because I don't want to make it sound like I'm condoning anything. And really, I hold our people to a higher standard, because like, you know what it feels like to be oppressed. Now you're going to be oppressor. You follow what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
you're gonna, if nobody understands like oppressive relationship, look at a dealer and a crackhead. That's real slavery.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, you know what I'm saying? Like, wash my car, do this, do that. Here's a rock. Straight slavery. So yeah, I'm not taking anybody off the hook.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
But when other people come and say, how can you do that? You just hold up the mirror and like, hey, like kind of like with the commercial, like when he caught the kid doing drugs. And it's like, I learned it for you, Dad.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, we have that moment. You know what I'm saying? We learn this oppressive thing. Because these are the heroes that you know hold up before us.
I mean, it's definitely true. You know, we've definitely made our bed. And it's definitely a tough situation. I know we'll be able to dig in this a little deeper. But I really wanted to kind of look at something from another angle. So we see this new Sexy Red thing, right? She's this new artist, super popular, and really degenerate and just very controversial, we'll say. But do you know like who she's connected to in the industry? It's actually pretty interesting. Have you heard of this company called Gamma?
I have not. Enlighten me.
Yeah, man. Okay, so I've discovered this new company called Gamma that's been started. Hold on one second. Called Gamma. It's been started by a former executive of Apple. This is really interesting, man. That's why I have these like MK Ultra vibes are going on with this, man. There's something big with this new music industry right now. And I think the streamers are connected to it too. You know, there's a lot of really famous streamers and they're young, you know, young and dumb, doing their thing. We were doing stupid stuff when we were the same age. But, you know, I know I'm not holier than thou, because when I was young, I was wild as well. But, well, definitely not that wild as these guys. Because they're from a different, you know, cloth. It's like these kids are brought up on the internet and they're just different. But they have more, I believe, there's a higher like level of responsibility due to the influence that these guys have now. They're reaching millions and billions of kids every day, all day. You know, there's a high level of responsibility there. Anyways, there's this guy named Larry Jackson who launches this new company called Gamma. It's a new music company, and he launches it with Usher for one. Okay, so there's that whole Usher Diddy connection thing. Mind you, he was a former executive at Apple, which connects so many things with technology, and just the biodigital convergence. But then there's Rick Ross is involved. Let me pull this up. Anyways, this guy connected. He went for Sexy Red, so he has a lot to do with why Sexy Red is so big. And this guy got $1 billion, man. 1 billion, a billion to do this.
No, that tells you who has that kind of money.
That's what I'm saying. And look, this is the website. It's kind of creepy, man. It's kind of creepy. It's like, it just reminds me of that film Monkey Shines. It got the little monkey playing the drums. And then there's the Gamma. There's a whole bunch of esoteric stuff there. But, and listen, man, I got this article here. It's pretty crazy, because I think what these guys are doing, there is definitely a business angle to this, right? They're trying to corner this new market of streaming, of content creation. So you're well aware that the industries are totally changing. That whole old world industry of 360, you know, what was it, 360 deals, and
yes,
just this whole kind of like OG hip hop industry of A&Rs and all of that. That's gone. The record companies or the record industry is transforming. So now these new companies are coming up where they're creating the new middlemen. And everyone's been recently bragging about, and I've been pointing this out too, how artists and content creators no longer need the industry. All you have to do is get an Instagram profile and blow up on Instagram or blow up on TikTok. You know, you don't need.
Well, streaming is the new record industry.
Exactly. But now you have guys trying to create a middleman for that. And he's literally done this. And in one of his first artists was Sexy Red. So what I'm getting at is I believe Sexy Red is part of this new massive like takeover. Like once again, you know, just like this happened in the early 80s well, not late 70s, but very early 80s with hip hop music, right? When the executives and the industry people started getting involved with the people in the Bronx and the clubs that were spinning these records, and they started signing these kids and bringing them into the industry, you know, just like that, picking them up, turning them into these type of machines for bigger industries. We're seeing the same thing happen right now. It's actually kind of crazy. Let me read this to you.
Okay.
Larry Jackson's $1 billion backed Gamma is go. Eldridge, which is a massive a holding company, like they own so much stuff, man. They're like huge. Eldridge, look into them. They have their hands in all the industries. And Apple, okay, so Apple put tons of money into this. Eldridge and Apple finance firm acquires Vidya, which is like I think it's kind of like a hosting company. And they hire Ike Youssef and Ben Cook. Jackson, so let's see. Now, according to one well-placed MBW source, Larry raised $1 billion for this thing. He's not playing any games. Jackson couldn't be reached at press time to confirm or deny that sum. But the financial supporters of Gamma are certainly as blue chip as they come. They include Todd Boyley's Eldridge Industries, and this is him here. This guy, I mean, he's with the Milken Institute. This guy is connected, man. Like when you see Sexy Red, this is who's behind Sexy Red. All right. Like it just every time it trips me out. Like these crazy degenerate dysgenic artists that are being plastered all over the world are backed by tons of money. Why are these guys interested in these artists that are literally destroying culture? Think about it.
Influence
is the new goal.
It's never about money.
Yes.
They've proven they can print money. I mean, it was about money.
Clearly, because they got all these billions, right?
Yeah. They could park their money in places and money makes money when you get to those kind of numbers.
Yes.
This is about influence.
Control.
And right. Which I would like to point to maybe one of the first prototypes, Cardi B. Cardi B was that first one that didn't really have much talent, but they were able to swing her over. Because before that, actually, Nicki Minaj could actually rap. You know,
yeah.
Little Kim could actually rap.
Yeah.
Foxy Brown could actually rap.
Some star power. Yeah.
Right. Cardi B was the first one they were able to create the image and then teach to rap. And once they were able to do that, they were like, "Oh, we can make it. You know, we can make whatever we want to now.
We could, build instead of build a bear. It's like build a
thought.
Build a thought. Yeah, build a thought. There we go.
And it's a manufacturing line. And when one goes phases out, like, and they release them like this. You had Meg Thee Stallion. She basically self-imploded with the whole situation with her and
Tory Lane. Yeah.
So then they had the usher in a new one. Ice Spice behind Sexy Red.
Oh my goodness.
And you notice what they do with Ice Spice. They put her beside Taylor Swift. Yeah. Instant celebrity.
Instantly, yes.
Yeah. Sexy Red, what do? They put her with Drake. They have this. And you know what? The funny thing is, it's kind of like, and I hate to say it like this, people may think I'm cruel, but it's like Drake takes the ugly girl to prom. That's this thing they have with him and Sexy Red.
Yeah, man.
She is no way his type.
I read that right away. Right away, I read that. And I'm saying the same thing. I don't mean her no disrespect, but it's obvious what they're doing. It's obvious.
Right. So that's what they're playing on. Like, oh, and it gives him much needed hood and street cred.
Yes, man.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And this is how they sit back and have these conversations. Like, oh, we need to, and it's all when you know about the Q score, and they look at the Q score and like, okay, we need to bump hit. Oh, well, he's he's lagging in the street credibility. Oh, we need to tie him to, some kind of beef or tie him to. Okay, Sexy Red's perfect. She's really hood.
Yeah,
her hood numbers is through the roof.
Through the roof.
Yeah. We'll tie her to Drake. And that gives her sex appeal now. Because obviously Drake likes her.
Yes.
She must have some redeemable qualities about it. And I'm not saying this is me. I'm saying this is how they talk in the boardrooms. And what is it for? Influence. Because what did Cardi B do? She talked to both Democratic candidates in the last election. Cardi B.
She did.
And what does that do? Her flock follows her. Wherever, go vote blue, go vote red, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Whatever she tells them to do, buy this product, buy that product, and they do it. So this is what they're doing. They're manufacturing influence.
Yes.
Perfectly
stated. Manufacturing influence. And let me show you how they're doing this. I'm going to go back to this article. Got these little parts here highlighted. I'm going to read this because this is extremely important. I believe because from what I'm seeing, this is like the industry's first real grab at this new coming content creation market. Now, if we been paying attention, Liar Cohen already did that in around what I think maybe 2010, 2013 when he became the YouTube world. What is it called? I forget the name of his position, but he got into the digital music realm early.
Right.
So he
had his finger on the influence button.
Yes, he was
pretty much
ahead of the game. I mean, he owns most of the digital age, new age rappers that came up on the internet. This kind of post industry. He's already through his 300 Entertainment, right? Yeah. So he got his hands on a lot of these new guys, but people are coming up straight off of TikTok now. I mean, you get a snippet of your song to go viral in some dance trend, and you're a new face. There's a whole new underground movement. I study all of these different movements. I mean, some are kind of small, but they have big followings. They may not be mainstream, but they're getting a lot of streams. They're getting a lot of engagement. And it's interesting because this new digital kind of content creation media system thing is growing like crazy, and it's growing freely outside of the parameters and control of the legacy industries, right? So I can see them now trying to get a grip on that. Cohen was a good example, but now this guy, Larry Jackson, I think is most, look at this. Let me show you this. This is crazy. I was tripping out when I saw this. I'm gonna read this. So 3 parts: content creation, content distribution, and the artist-centered enterprise. Just listen to this and it'll all be clear to you. Whether the artist is interested in recording and distributing an album, composing new music, producing short or long-form visual content, developing a podcast, or launching a consumer product business, Gamma supports its creators with the means and resources to execute their vision. As if we can't do this on our own, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you got the skills, you got the talent, if you got that flair, you can do it on your own. But again, many people don't. So they're going to literally build artists and influencers. Anyhow, key initiatives to date include Snoop Dogg. So Snoop is a huge part of this. In fact, they got their launch with the entire catalog of Death Row Records. So what happened is, I guess Snoop bought the entire Death Row Records catalog. And then he released it on this Gamma platform only. And I think through TikTok specifically. So and part of that deal was Sexy Red. She was involved with this big, massive deal. So that basically 2023 was like the launch of this company. And during that, we saw Snoop getting a lot of press. If you remember, Snoop was all in the press, man, for different things. He's very popular with his gaming.
Super Bowl.
I
remember around that whole time, the Death Row thing, the Super Bowl, Dr. Dre. You know what I'm saying? Like they did a whole rollout.
Yes.
It's a whole package.
A whole package. And then on the back of that, we get Sexy Red, appealing to a whole different population, a younger, newer age population, opposed to Snoop's kind of like traditional classic following. So that's powerful. And it all came through this one company. It's just interesting to me. Let me continue reading here. And mind you, if we think about Snoop, Death Row, Tupac, and all those connections to Dr. Dre and NWA, and of course CIA, right? So this goes right back to the original MK Ultra stuff. It wouldn't surprise me if this is just another stage of all of that, right? Because it goes all the way back to NWA. It's directly connected through.
Can I interject one thing?
Please.
Because you inspired a thought. And I'm going back to how technology changes things. And when Kanye West was at his peak, you know, with the College Dropout, and it's in the following album at that Late Registration, hip hop was very sample heavy.
Yes.
When the polyphonic ringtone came out, that didn't translate well. So that's when you started getting the Laffy Tappies and the music that could translate to ringtones. And it was even called ringtone rap. So this is how technology changes music. And now I'm going somewhere with this because you even said now all the artist needs is 10 seconds of the most absurd quotable lines. So TikTokers can make videos out of it. And there you have it. Oh. So they don't care about the whole song. I need 10 seconds. And what is the called? I ain't gonna repeat what she's known for, but something's pink and something's brown.
Yeah.
Absurd 10 seconds, instant fame. And then what do? Pump it, pump it, pump it, pump it. You know what I'm saying? On the algo, just keep pumping it. And what? Now it's famous for being famous.
Yes.
This is the inertia they have to get over.
That is fascinating. And I guess we also have to consider Soulja Boy's impact in all of that, because he kind of started that ringtone thing with Kiss Me Through the Phone.
Right. Which, like I said, the music had to change because you had to have something that you can't translate through the wire on a polyphonic Nokia.
That is heavy. Wow. Yes, man.
Oh. So it had to change. The music had to change to acquiesce to the technology.
Yes.
And this is all we're seeing again is the music changing. Like I said, 10 seconds. That's all we need for them to create a little dance with it. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's what me and a guy I talked to, you know what I'm saying, a friend of mine named Grump, we call it memeanese. It's a whole language around this thing.
Yes.
It's like meme music.
Yes. Yes. Meme music. Yeah. And we're even communicating like that now, like communicating through memes and truncated acronyms and such.
And modern hieroglyphics, AKA emojis.
Yes. Absolutely.
All emojis are modern hieroglyphics.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And so as you're saying, as technology changes, the music changes. And of course, if that's the case, as the technology changes, the music changes, what else changes? Our behavior. We change.
Yeah, culture.
Culture changes. Exactly. And that's why I've been really trying to press this quite a bit, is culture is now informed through technology. It used to be the other way around. But we're at the stage now where technology has surpassed and usurped the influence of culture, because culture is now being presented and experienced through the technology. But if the technology keeps developing and changing, that means the culture is forced to acquiesce to that change. It's crazy when you think about it.
And when you go across the gender line to the men in rap, you need a body. I need to off somebody. You say I need ops. I need to get on live and op hunt and go out here, you know, and then people follow you and you make a song about it. Now, like I said, they're doing open confessions on record of whoever they're shooting at or actually hitting or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like they're actually doing, because what? That gives you credibility. That gives you clout. The clout machine kicks on. The record, you know what I'm saying? The record companies or the modern record companies, who are the streaming companies and YouTube and the tech companies. Oh, that's the new artist, NBA YoungBoy. Whoever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So no, I'm saying it's like, but you have to ask yourself, is it the chicken or the egg? It's one of these. It's a legit chicken and egg situation, because does the clout come from you doing these bad behaviors, or do they do the bad behaviors because of the clout machine? And we know social media and these streaming companies could easily ban and shadow ban this kind of behavior if their heart was in the right place. Because we get up here and start talking too crazy, you know, they will definitely pull the plug on us. But they all of a sudden beef songs are number one on the streaming. So do Black Lives really matter?
Well, I think we know the answer to that.
Of course, I'm being facetious. I'm just saying, like, these people that want to hit you over the head with this, you know, with this verbiage, but you're steady promoting, you know, saying this murder and this, like I said, this horror culture and murder culture. This is what they're promoting.
Yes.
Not, you know, like, this is Apple, this is Spotify, this is Google, this is Alphabet.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the big boys. We ain't talking about, you know, and I'll wrap on this, but you remember, was it Universal or Warner Music Group had a big tiff with TikTok. Warner said, we're pulling our music from your platform. And it got worked out.
It got worked out. And by the way, Gamma is directly connected with Warner. Warner is a massive part of this whole deal. They're like hand in hand, Warner Brothers. Let me read these last two here just so you get the picture. Content distribution. Here we go. Gamma acquired Vidya Incorporated in December 2023 to provide content creators with the unfettered ability to publish and distribute audio-visual content on a global basis. Based on cutting-edge music technology and infrastructure, Vidya provides its creators with rights management services, advanced payments, transparent and automated royalty accounting, and daily performance analytics to help amplify the artist's reach. Gamma recognizes this the artist-centered enterprise. Yeah, okay. Gamma recognizes that content creators have the ability to impact culture. Yes, you better believe it. And commerce more than ever through direct engagement with their fans and global reach that no longer relies on traditional advertising. Artists are developing direct fan connectivity extending beyond an album or film. Artists are now in the driver's seat of building their own direct to customer and retail businesses on their terms in a manner that rewards the value that they are creating, which is facts. But it's so interesting how we got these companies, as always, these big, massive companies who are part of the big five, right? They are the same people. Apple is behind this. Okay. Eldridge Industries is behind this. They're just coming in and trying to corner the market in a new way. Let me read you this on their website. It's really interesting. I don't think it's going to show up on the screen, but I'll just read it real quick here. It says, Gamma is not a label. It is not a management company. It is connective tissue. Funny, I use this term quite a bit. It is a connective tissue, bridging the gap between enigmatic genius and everyday life. Wow, isn't it interesting? They're even trying to get away from the whole idea of like industry management and labels. They're like, no, we're connective tissue. We're a middleman. Again, it's like, what at what cost, right? I haven't done enough research to really figure out like the ins and outs of the relationship between the artist and this company, because I'm just kind of discovering this. But to me, it just seems like another 360 kind of deal, old style, old world label scenario, just being reformed or, you know, adjusted to this new digital age.
To my fresh ears, what I'm hearing, because like I said, what you're telling me is I'm just hearing it, but to my fresh ears, what I'm hearing is they want to be in the shadows, but still be in control.
There it is.
When you have a label, you know, like with anything, when you have a label on something, then you had to stand behind your product. Universal, Warner, whatever. Now it's like, you know what? I just kind of, you know, guide them. I don't have any control over the content they make. So, you know, it's this plausible deniability.
There it is, man.
And that's where the power is. But at the same time, whoever has their hand on the algo dial of what they can crank up or crank down whoever they want to, that's the real power.
Mm.
And if you think it's not you, of course you know, but if you think it's natural, what is on you in your suggestions on Netflix or YouTube or wherever else, I got another thing for you. They handpick who they want up there, because if you're up there, then you have instant credibility. And the reason why I know this is 6ix9ine was so widespread, the rapper 6ix9ine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what is he even famous for?
Yeah.
He was everywhere, but then when you look who was behind him, Lucien Grange,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they manufactured. He wasn't even a rapper
At all. He's just a normal kid.
Right. And so one more thing I want to say about 6ix, I don't want to make it about her and beating up on her, because this is a bigger problem.
Yeah, I'm about to show you something about that in a second here. Yeah, go ahead.
She's the flavor of the day, but I'm gonna show you how the Boulé's behind this.
Mm-hmm.
If this was 10 years ago, she would not have a song called Ski Yee, because that's very close to the AKA call of Ski Wee.
Ooh.
Say that again.
Ooh.
If this was 10 years ago, she would not have a song called Ski Yee, because that's very close to the AKA call or Alpha Kappa Alpha call of Ski Wee, which our vice president is an AKA, where she was playing this song with a bunch of black college HBC student body government people at the White House or at her house.
Mm.
So I don't think the Boulé is not in this. They're always in this.
Every time. This kind of stuff wouldn't happen without that being the case. It's because it's the same messages, it's the same tones, you know, it's the same symbols every time.
A phone call would have been made and that would have been shut down ASAP 10 years ago. But it's like, you know what? We got to let it rock. That doesn't, no,
Wow. So I found this clip that kind of builds and supports my points regarding Gamma and Jackson. Mm-hmm. But this goes into a little something different. It even like claims that part of her career is to target African American children, to target certain demographics, which doesn't sound surprising to me. It's just interesting research. It's this clip I found here. I'm gonna play it. Can you hear the stuff I'm playing?
Go ahead, and I'll let you know.
All right.
Here is a new blind item that's allegedly about Sexy Red. As part of the deal, the executive was required to create music that would target and influence African American culture, specifically children. That's why this sexy artist has become a star overnight. Follow the money and it will lead you to an investment group with its hands in banking, politics, and entertainment. They're spending millions on her message. And again, this is allegedly Sexy Red. And this first related headline reads, "Is Sexy Red the most outrageous new voice in rap?" This next related headline reads, "Sexy Red records herself driving 130 miles per hour while pregnant." And this third related headline ties it back to the alleged investment group. With Gamma, Larry Jackson is putting $1 billion to work for Black culture. In February, TikTok's 1 billion plus users received an unexpected gift for Valentine's Day, exclusive access to the catalog of one of hip-hop's most revered labels, Death Row Records. Snoop Dogg had purchased the catalog in 2022 and pulled it from streaming services, so the only place to hear the tracks from Snoop's classic Doggy Style or Tupac's 10 times platinum All Eyes on Me was TikTok. Their partnership, as unusual as it was savvy, was the handiwork of veteran music executive Larry Jackson, 42, who seized the attention of the industry this year when he launched his entertainment company Gamma. Backed by $1 billion in financing and focused on putting that capital to work in particular and acutely on Black culture, Jackson has created a deep-pocketed alternative to the major labels.
So this is an alternative to the major labels. Basically, what she was saying there was this is some type of targeting effort, some new Black culture industry. I'd like to know some history on Larry Jackson, possibly. I doubt he's Boulé, but this is definitely in the interest of Boulé. I mean, clearly.
I'm familiar with Larry Jackson, but I wasn't familiar with Gamma.
Yeah,
and Larry Jackson's been a mover and shake. And I did hear the video on my phone, so I heard it.
Okay.
But Larry Jackson was a mover and shaker at a very young age.
Interesting. I didn't.
Yeah. So because I think Jay-Z shouted him out when he did his begging speech for his wife to get the album of the year. And I want to make this point right quick. This is how they control these celebrities. They dangle something over their head. They have a carrot and a stick. Let's be clear on that. We know what the stick is. You know what I'm saying? Like they have some damning information on you that they can drop on you anytime and get you out of here looking at you, Diddy. But then they also have a carrot that they keep you chasing. Jay-Z, it was $1 billion. His wife, his album of the year. And the point I'm getting to is when he shouted him out, I was like, who is this person, Larry Jackson? So when I hear names like that, so I wasn't aware of Gamma. But if you go and look at Larry Jackson, he had a early entry into the music industry.
Very interesting.
They don't let anybody escape. I mean, nothing gets past them.
Were you able to watch that Tariq clip I sent you?
I was.
What do you want to talk about that a little bit?
We can.
Okay. Let me pull that up. Actually, first, before I show that, I have a clip here. I guess she was supposed to perform at some school. She was supposed to perform at a school, and I guess they wouldn't allow her because she smelled like weed or something. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I did. I heard that as well. Why she at a school?
Yeah, I mean, for real.
That's the big, like, nobody asked the important question, like, why is she at a school? But I would liken her very closely to Little Nasty X, is what I call him.
Yes.
I didn't like mentioning his name, but he was dissimilar. That's targeted this towards children. And you see tons of videos of kids singing her songs, which I find very weird.
Very weird, man. It's sick, bro. Like little girls.
Yes.
Tiny little girls that aren't older than 10. I don't know, man. So I thought that was really disturbing. Let me pull up this clip and we'll just play this quickly so we could discuss it. Keep it moving. Because, Tariq is one of these spokesmen, for the culture, especially FBA, and very controversial. I mean, there's a large percentage of people that can't stand the guy. But I think we always got to consider, what he says, given that he's influential in the culture war.
I have 20-year-old, 23-year-old daughter. I also have a 11-year-old, she'll be 12 on the 14th, like you, Roddy.
Yeah.
And I have a granddaughter, 3 years old. And then I have a mother, some aunties. And I heard you speaking recently on something that really refreshed me because your perspective is almost identical to mine. And I'm just gonna say one name and I'm gonna let you go. Sexy Red.
Man.
What we gonna do, bro?
And the sexy, I'm
shout out to her.
Yeah, shout out to Sexy Red.
One thing you said redemptive was she's a part of something so much bigger.
Yeah.
And nothing else she presented.
Why you
really
pull that up?
She really had no choice.
Yeah, I'm playing it right now, actually.
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. What's up?
No. I just found it interesting statement about Larry Jackson before we move on from him.
Okay.
His company has a sibling-like relationship with A24.
Yeah.
Which A24 makes those. They're not even they don't attempt to be blockbusters. It's more cult classic type movies. So I just wanted to bring that up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think they're trying to do the same thing with music. They're not trying to make Grammy Award-winning artists over in his operation. They're trying to tap into these cult artists.
Yes, because the digital media kind of like realm is becoming a decentralized market, and they're paying attention to that. It's going to be about enclaves and these kind of like, how do I say it? Like what you're saying, like cult followings, because we're already seeing that now. Like even with the Kai Cenat guy. You know, he created his whole own thing, you know, just by being a wild and crazy kid and attracting all of these other people. I'm not sure if he's signed to anything. At least I know he wasn't in the beginning. I don't know. Maybe he could be part of something now. But go ahead.
I have to give credit to Grump for this one. But you mentioned Kai, also Aiden Ross.
Yeah.
And Grump said, and it never dawned on me until he told me this. He's like, what if Aiden Ross is like a debriefing mechanism for these artists? Because they bring them in for these long 24, 48-hour streams. Have you noticed that? This is not ordinary 2-hour content like we're doing.
Yeah.
They bring these artists in for 24, 48 hours. Is this kind of like an MK Ultra kind of thing that's going on live on screen?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
that's it. I think this whole thing is all MK Ultra, like for real. I really believe this because this has an effect on people's minds. It definitely is changing the culture, and when you add in the influence and this hyper engagement of the technology, you know, the virtual world. I mean, this is transforming who we are. So you have to consider that. Yeah, absolutely, man.
And one last point about Kai. Even with academics, he's lagging to the new streamers.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
Because when Drake came out, he went and talked to Kai, not academics. So this is a changing of the guard kind of thing.
Yep.
Right before our eyes. I just want to make that last point. Sorry about that.
No, it's such a great point. Right before our eyes. Look at you saw Nicki up in there. You even saw Tyler up in there. Come on, man. This kid is it. And even in Drake's recent track with J. Cole, he has a line about something about his brothers or his bros are rich or whatever, and they all stream.
Yeah.
So he's this is it. This is like the new move. This is the new era of media, is like this streamer thing, right? It's very, very powerful. And through this new streamer culture is coming this massive decentralized content creation market. And they're trying to capitalize on it because they see how powerful it is. Because the Kai Cenat kid he has literal power. I show speed as well. Culturally speaking, they have cultural power that's extremely significant and is surpassing some of the more legacy cultural icons, like, you know, like, I guess he's not a cultural icon, but academics as an example, you know, who kind of comes from that 2010s era. You know, they're fading away. Interesting.
I want to see how the presidential candidates play with these streamers. We got to keep a close eye on that.
Oh yeah.
Do they have to go? Is the Charlemagne's dying? Is that not the preferred platform anymore for presidential candidates to go talk to?
It's on its way out. This might be the last election that they're even considered.
Yeah. Like
by the next, say, 8 years from now, or 4 years from now, 5 years from now, it's going to be a whole new vibe.
And I apologize for interrupting.
Not at all. This was a great little talk here. That couple minutes, man, that was great.
All right. Well, we can go back because I want to make sure we heard the clip.
Man, now you got me wanting to talk about these streamers, man.
No, let's go ahead. I mean, like, hey, you know how we do. Like, we like water buzz all over the place. But the streamers, and I missed it. I was like, Carson, who is this?
I've been on this, man. I've been on this even before they were where they're at now. I've been following this for some time, man. Yeah.
Because I don't have Twitch. That's the other thing.
I don't either, but I have my ways.
I have my means and methods.
Yeah, I have my means and methods. Yeah, man.
Wait, man, that's interesting because that means Charlemagne's being phased out. That may explain why he's swinging the way he is politically.
Yep.
He's trying to find a new umbrella to get under.
Yes, man. That's why a lot of the beefs are starting up, the controversies, a lot of the drama. You see Adam 22 flailing flailing. Like that whole era is dead, and it's tanking, right? So everyone's trying to survive, but what seems to be holding on is the youth aspect, of course, with these young guys, but it's the cultural phenomena of, I mean, I don't really know another concept to talk about other than just absurdity. It's the level of absurdity that is extremely attractive. And you mix the absurdity with the hypersexuality, and then of course the flexing, you know, the whole flex culture.
Has podcasting and streaming surpassed music?
Yes, absolutely.
Because we really need to look at it that way, because I mean, they're competitors of each other.
They are.
Because what it is passive listening.
Mm-hmm.
Is what it really, I mean, we had to create a whole another genre for all of it to be under umbrella genre of I can do this while doing this. Television, you can't do that.
Mm-mm.
But podcasting, streaming, music, all that falls into I'm driving, I'm listening. I'm working, I'm listening. I'm in the gym, I'm listening. So now they're natural competitors of each other. And going back, now the music, I'm about to say musician, but they're not that. They're far from that. But you know what I'm saying? The music content creators have to make the absurd, so then they're talked about by the streamers and,
yes.
and the podcasters.
If they weren't talked about by the streamers and podcasters, they wouldn't be relevant.
Right.
Or at least they'd lose relevance.
So the rabbit got the gun now, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like they used to say, you know, NBA players want to be rappers. Now rappers want to be streamers.
Mm-hmm.
Rappers are going to want to be, you know, have that fame. Like, you know who crossed over and is doing pretty well right now is young Lil Yachty. Lil
Yep.
Yachty? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He has a little show. And
Buttons and Joe Buttons and what's the other one? His name just slipped my they're like the two biggest podcasters there is, and they were former rappers.
Yeah, Button. Yeah, he definitely been probably the first, actually.
But who's the other one? It's another one just slipped my mind. Just that quick. But go ahead. It'll come back to me. But yeah, that's the.
But from the newer age, you know, scene, Yachty.
Oh, Gilly the Kid. I mean, like Gilly.
Oh, Gilly. Yeah.
Yeah, they have two of the biggest platforms. So now it's. I mean, like I'm just saying that the podcast is the lead now.
It is. And I think the reason that is the case, for one, I think people, even if they don't realize it, are kind of bored with the industry. They're bored. Mm-hmm. They're bored with mainstream music. I mean, if you go to the underground or the different genres, subgenres, there's a whole lot of cool and interesting and innovative stuff going on in music scenes and different genres and stuff. But you know, they're like microcosms. So you have, it's like you either know or you know, if you know, you don't, you know, it is what it is. But like the mainstream, like where most people are operating, when we think of Spotify and like the stuff that's really streaming the most, it's just people are getting bored with it. And I think what happens with the podcast is it brings things to life. There's something about podcasts that brings a sense of authenticity and realness. You know, people are like talking about real everyday things, talking about stuff people are interested in. And it's somewhat interactive. There's just more to grab onto, and I think the music is just so repetitive. It's all like factory cookie cutter based stuff. It's derivative, it's repetitive, and it's not really going anywhere. Actually, it's really not going anywhere. So I think people are just looking for something new. And now the two realms are crossing over a little bit. Budden being the kind of the most successful at that. And of course, there's Math Hoffa.
I forgot about Math. Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
So there's this crossover going on, and it's keeping the music industry alive. I believe personally, it actually keeping it alive. But the music's not getting better, but the podcasting is. The streams are getting better and more interesting.
Interactive.
Yeah.
Right now, with me and you having a conversation, people are passively interactive with our conversation, so they feel like I'm in the conversation. They can't, you know, and if you have a live or, you know, I mean, and comments can come through that actually can be in the conversation. You don't get that with music.
Nope.
Music's one way.
Yeah.
The music comes out, you consume it, that's it. But now, like I said, they feel like they're in the room with me and you having this conversation right now, which is a far more potent way to get programming out.
Yes.
if you wanted to use it for that method.
Absolutely. And I think that's why these big industries, especially legacy types, are now creating new forms of themselves through Gamma, as an example. There was another one of these companies that was collecting all the TikTok, all the TikTokers that were real big in the early 2020s. What is it called? It starts with an E. Not Excel. I can't remember the name of the company, but it was one of these companies that was really just a storefront of these massive companies that were collecting these content creators and putting them in homes and having them stream all day. It's really interesting how that's happening. But yeah, so I think what it is it's the interactiveness, and it's music, especially traditionally, it's very detached. These you can't, and I think this was a big appeal for social media too, because now people can actually communicate with celebrities and artists in social media. You could comment on their pages and try to get them to reply. You could DM them. So it's created this new way to get closer. It's this, it creates a new type of intimacy. Now it's a false sense of intimacy, right? It's not actual intimacy, but it's a semblance of it that brings, I would say, more value, because what it does is it creates a new experience. So people are able to experience information, media, content, but also personalities that interest them in a new way, right? So that's attractive, and it's new, it's novel. So the novelty alone, it's going to it's going to help its success. Even eventually that might play out, right? As everything else, everything kind of transitions. But right now we have all these new technologies, internet's getting faster, all of these new programs and softwares. So really the future it's all about creativity. I mean, the future is rooted in creativity as far as like the realm of media is concerned. And which I think forces them more to make influencers, to kind of like, co-opt or interject this new wave of, I call it like a digital renaissance of creators coming out of the woodwork. So they have to create these new massive entities to quell that development of just everyday Joes like you and I that are building in this world, and I think Sexy Red's a good example of that.
Well, that's why you have to manufacture it, because you have to flood the zone. The only way you can control it is you have to flood the zone with as much of the same messaging as possible to make it difficult to find content like mine and yours.
Yes.
And, because like if you just let it stand on its own, like we were around on YouTube before YouTube became what it is now.
Oh yeah, way before
and you
streaming.
Find what you were looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, there weren't algorithms. There wasn't even live streaming.
Well, and your video wouldn't have found me in this new YouTube.
Oh,
that's the problem.
No way.
That's what they're trying to...
No way. Yeah, like I feel bad. I feel for people just starting now. It's impossible. I mean, unless you're part of some machine or you have some big, company pushing you or something. I mean, the algorithms have destroyed it. The whole, it's really hard, man. It's
2 points because when you talk, it like just firing things off my head. You said something a while back about these streaming incubators. You didn't use that word, but these houses where maybe streamers are kept.
Yes.
And like in the incubation phase.
No, they literally buy homes, massive homes, and they live in these homes and they just stream 24 hours in these homes.
Right.
Yeah.
But is there actually a structure to this? Because I know in the record industry, there used to be a structure to this. It would be, okay, in this city, you looking for new talent to come up. As soon as you get a new talent, you sign that talent to a 5-year deal or a 20-album deal. And then the majors come and buy that deal from you if they happen to blow up. And we've seen this with Meg Thee Stallion.
Exactly.
So are we seeing this with the streamers now? I can't say we are, but I'm just posing the question.
It looks like it.
Well,
It looks like something like that. It looks like that's the direction that, because they're not gonna let. Well, at least they're gonna try their best to not let this get away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's slipping through their fingers. So that's why we have all the controversy, all these big names, everything being shoved down our throats, because they're like, no, keep looking over here. Keep looking over here. Because now regular people are competing with like famous people. I mean, you see, listen, man, there's people that have been famous for decades that get on and try to live stream, don't know what the hell they're doing, and can't even get anybody to watch their content. I mean, I'm talking about people who are famous. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore. Fame, all of that, clout, that's nonsense. It's about authenticity and value.
Bruce Springsteen and Obama tried to have a podcast. It shut its doors after I think maybe 5-10 episodes.
There we go.
So no, I mean we're and now you taking me to a whole nother place. Let me make my last point. No, let me make my last point. My last of the second point I wanted to make is, and me and my man E-Class had this conversation. YouTube and streamers is the new church.
Yes.
These are congregations. Let's just call it what it is.
Yes, facts.
These are congregations, and people come together in the live chat, and they know each other. And there's a call and response aspect to it. Oh, if you like that, let me get a thumbs up. You like that? Give me, what I'm saying. And then you start forming your own emojis, hieroglyphics. You know what I'm saying? Like, certain people have, might be a stack of pancakes or the 100 sign or whatever, to represent their congregation.
That's like the decentralized aspect of it, right? It's like we're able to actually create our own communities and support our own messages and actually build out authentic, we could call them thought forms, right? Like all the things we believe and we stand for, we can create authentic movements outside of the socially engineered PSYOP machine messages. You know what I'm saying? And then
we create our own vernacular. Exactly. It's like we can't say that word, so we say this word.
Yes,
my word was Vaseline. Shh, you can't say it. Vaseline. People know what I'm talking about when I say Vaseline. You can kind of guess what I'm talking about.
Code words. We can't say. Yeah, code words. Yeah.
And these are, like I said, these are the new congregations. Which is this the new social? I'm asking a lot of questions because, like I said, you say a lot, and it made me start to think of: is this the new socialization? Are we living it? I know we talk about it, but are we living it?
We are. We're living the evolution of sociality. Sociality is the dynamics of relating, right? So we are learning to relate in new ways through these new types of technologies. Now, I think they are becoming more and more problematic because through this new development, we're starting to forego older ways of communicating. And after a while, things atrophy, right? So older people might be able to hang on to some of this stuff, but when you got 12-year-olds that are playing video games, streaming all day, and that's how they spend most of their time with their friends, this is a different type of relating. This is a different type of sociality. So when you take those individuals and you put them, those kids, you put them in, say, a public area, a public present physical situation where they have to perform or operate in a certain way, they might have high difficulty, right? And so for me, that's evidence of a problem. I think that's probably one of the negative things about this new development, this new evolution, new socialization, if you will. But it is the case. I mean, it is the case.
And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just identifying, like, I'll give you, for example, when people are in prison and in like 23-1 lockdown, they learn how to fly kites. And this is where they slide notes under the cell. The human has the need to communicate. That's why we're given words and the brain, to formulate words and express ourselves.
Language, all that, yeah.
Yeah, so if we're in a prison planet, to use a term, this is just our way of coping in it. Now, we shouldn't accept this as to be, but we also had to realize that this is a coping mechanism.
I think
it's sad, you know what I'm saying? But
I mean, I think it at times, yes, especially during, say, COVID for sure. But I personally look at it more as a supplemental form of communication and social relating. Right? It's supplemental in that it's additional. It's added on to our say non-virtual experience in the world. And my view has always been, as long as you have a healthy non-virtual social relationship with people in the world, there's nothing wrong at all with having also a virtual. But the problem is things, and people have different situations. You know, I mean, I have to realize that like some people might not have a whole lot of people in their life, and this might be probably one of the main experiences that they have. And I think for certain people, it could work. That could work perfectly fine. You know, everyone's different. We all have different situations and different experiences, and we're all designed differently. So, you know, I'm not trying to say there's some objective way we all need to be, but surely I think if we're going to consider like a general sense, generally things ideally should be balanced. But I get the coping mechanism, sure. And well, let's put it this way. It's actually, there's a lot of value. Engagement, the experiences, the amount of information, and the access to media and experiences. There's a lot of value there. So it can turn into a type of coping mechanism, almost like a drug would. Right? Because it's very pleasurable to surf the internet and to look at things and to read and to watch. I mean, it's very pleasurable. So, yeah, man.
Oh, and I wasn't talking about the content. I was saying the community built around the content is the coping mechanism. Like I'll give you an example. Like the movie Life. It's like, you know, we're all in prison for the rest of our life, so we might as well make the best of it. And, you know what I'm saying? And now I'm not talking about the content being the salve.
I agree with that. You know, I'm gonna be real with you, especially like I can't say for other communities, right? Because other communities have totally different things they talk about. But this stuff we talk about, I mean, I must be honest here, man. Like, I look forward to having these conversations and experiencing people in the chat and seeing you guys every time we stream, because when we're together, I know you guys know what I know. And in the real physical material world, I know very few people that I can do that with. So for me, yeah, man, like I look at it as a very important part of my life. You guys are like my extended family. It like, like for real.
And that's what I call my, you know, my family, the Facts family, you know, because I remember when it was 3, 5, 10, you know, that kind of thing. But then you see new faces, you know, and then when you don't see faces, like anybody heard from so-and-so, you know, just checking in, you know, that kind of thing. And it's comforting to know that you're not crazy.
Yes. Exactly, you know, man.
Because easily you could be like, you know, when it was not popular to say the things that we're saying, that's now popular to say. Whatever it is, you know, and then people look at you and then you start to doubt yourself. But then when you get with other people, it's like you see that too. Like, I ain't going crazy, you know, like when you come in the house, like, do you smell something burning? And everybody looks at you like, no, I don't smell nothing. And then somebody else walks in the room like, something burning. It's like, I know I wasn't crazy. You know? That effect.
Yes, man. Absolutely. I don't think there's a damn thing wrong with that. I don't care if it's virtual or not. Listen, man, this has been, I mean, just the past several years, you know, being part of these communities and building these channels and, you know, not just speaking my mind and offering up my research, but actually creating relationships with people through these mediums. I mean, it's a different type of experience than the physical world and meeting people face to face. Of course, it's of a lower quality, sure, because there's certain levels of sensorial experience that are absent, like touch, like smell, you know, like actual face-to-face vision, things like this, at least, you know, in a way has reciprocity. But when we just think of the ability to know that we share an idea or a view and just having those views, like what you believe is a massive part of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
It's huge. So to be in a place and around people that don't believe anything you believe, or might even think low of you, or think you're crazy because of what you believe, to find people that believe what you believe and know what you know is extremely powerful and valuable, and I think important to the identity, to the security, to the confidence. I mean, it's definitely a blessing, I believe. And I think a lot, I mean, in general, things have ups and downs and, trade-offs, but I think overall, in that sense, what you mean based like the community aspect of it, especially today, as crazy as things are, I think they're very important. I think they do provide a type of value that we can't even get in the real world. Literally, we can't get in the real. So it's like
and
we have a new
people challenging you that so you don't get an echo chamber.
There we go. And the challenge, you're able to bounce ideas off of, and you're held accountable, right?
Yeah,
it's very important, man. I know there's people out there that do things differently, right? But what you're saying, I'm with 100%.
And I'm gonna say this one thing is the most dangerous thing is truthing alone.
Oh yeah,
that's a very dangerous thing because people lose themselves in rabbit holes. You have to have some kind of like. I like to laugh.
Yes,
I mean because it's so absurd. It has to be laughed at. It's serious as colon cancer. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah,
but it's like it's gallows humor. You know what I'm saying? Like, can you believe they're still trying to pull this crap? You know, and you have to laugh about it to keep. I never understood what Grandma meant by that. You know what I'm saying? You had to laugh to keep from crying.
Keep from crying, yeah.
Yeah. So, but you have to have that emotional outlet. But you find people when they truth alone, to use the term, they lose the plot.
Yes.
That's a very, and I say on my channel, like people 3 a.m, you know what I'm saying? Like cutting raw lines of truth, like drugs, like it becomes a drug to them.
Yes.
And then you nothing's real then. They get to this point where nothing's real.
Yes.
No, that's not real. It's like, whoa, brother, like slow it down. You know what I'm saying? Just step away from the laptop, close the 45 Google windows you got open there, you know what I'm saying? And go outside and get some sunlight.
Yes, absolutely.
Which I think these communities that we have balance that. It's like, okay, we get on here, we ridicule, we saw it, you saw it. Now what we going to do? You know what I'm saying? How are we going to solve this problem? How are we going to move around this problem? And maybe you didn't have an answer before that, but then, you heard somebody else say it. It's always, as Neely Fuller say, all problems are solved through question and answers. And a lot of times people are looking they have questions like, what does this mean? I know I'm seeing something, but I don't know what it is. And hopefully, like I said, your Boule video did it for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know I ain't crazy, like that kind of thing. And what Unplug 'em does, and hopefully what I do, and we start to challenge each other. Like, I don't know about that, Days, and you challenge me. Like, I don't know about that, Mo.
Mm-hmm.
And then it creates the opportunity to think. It's like, okay, well, I wonder why he said that. Some things I'm gonna go away from this conversation. Like, you know what? That was a blind spot for me. Let me look more into that. What's its impact on my life? And there's some things like, what it is. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah. Because a lot of this stuff we can't change, but we need an outlet to talk about it. We need someone to speak to about some of this stuff. Like, honestly, if I didn't have this community and all you guys, man, during all of these years that this stuff has been happening, I don't know, like, I don't know how I would have ever been able to deal with it. Because you can't just go out and speak to people about stuff. You just can't present these ideas like without being judged or looked at like something's wrong with you. So that's lonely.
But I think we weathered the storm of the COOF better than any others group.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, it was a culture shock for a lot of people.
Big time.
For us, it's like, oh, okay, we kind of knew. We didn't know how it was going to come. But okay.
We've been waiting,
we got to go
for
inside
that.
for a little while. Like, okay. And then we can come outside again. You know, I mean, it's not right, but it's like we cope, you know, and we cope together. Hello?
Yeah, man. No, that was a really interesting point, but I do believe coping mechanism might have a little it might be have a little bit of pejorative flair, but I do see what you mean by that, and I do think we're going to really this is going to become a bigger part of our lives, even more than it already is. And that's just based on the direction of culture, technology, and communication in general, right? And this might not necessarily be the case for our generations, but definitely the younger generations. These types of arrangements, online virtual communities, is going to be more and more prevalent. I think the only way to survive that without kind of falling to some of the potential for like negative consequences, not meant to live in virtual worlds like the metaverse or something, right? I think it's just to build out a healthy and I'd say interactive, physical, material, social world.
And that's definitely necessary.
Yeah, and if you don't have one, it would be good to try to start building one, because over time, I mean, again, this is novel tech, guys. We haven't been living like this for that many years. You know, 10 more years, and 10 more years with even more advanced stuff that's coming over the next 10. Especially for the younger people who are just getting going. You know, we're a little older, so, you know, we know how to handle things a little bit better just because we've been around. But for the younger people, they don't have those, like, you know, those, it's like the ability to see the problems in some of these, or the ability to slow their roll.
One thing I found out to be true, and this is just anecdotal, the people our age and maybe a half a generation under us, I'm 43, so I say people maybe in their 30s, they don't get it, but the 20-year-olds get it.
I think that's the case because we're talking about it so much.
Yeah,
and they're paying
and
they're paying
like,
attention.
We ain't freaking out. It's like, so why? Like, that calmness draws them in.
Yeah,
it's like, why are you so calm about this? Why are you not freaking out through this whole situation where people are losing their, you know what I'm saying, losing their, you know, their cool on it? And it's like, you know what? Hey, I tell people this all the time. I eat, drink, and be merry. You know, and what that means is, like, enjoy, like, you ate today, which is a blessing. You know what I'm saying? You know, you had something to, not alcohol. I mean, not alcohol, but just the fellowship.
Yes.
Enjoying, you know, sitting around at the lunch table. That's the interaction. And then you have something meaningful to talk about. And when you have something meaningful to talk about, you can do it in a calm way. People are attracted to you. Yeah. No doubt about it.
I agree, because I mean, that's how I feel when I see people speaking calmly and clearly they're informed, and I could relate to that. So I agree with that 100%. Absolutely. Now, the weird part is where is all of this going? Because right now we're in a transitional stage. So 5 years from now, things are going to be a lot different, like technologically. We're going to be able to do things we literally cannot do right now. So it's cool and it's creepy. It's cool because it's like, man, we got some cool stuff coming, but it's creepy because it's like, well, damn, what are we gonna lose in that process? You know? So when I see a lot of these new artists and like these new companies and this new streaming culture and all of this, it's fascinating and it's exciting, but then at the same time, I can't help but always look ahead and try to understand how some of this is going to, like, what is this going to turn into? How do we maintain as much of our humanness and kind of awareness is possible, especially with the AI, the personal AI stuff coming. Like we think we have a problem being present now. Wait,
Right. You're going to be in a conversation. You're saying you're the only human in there. You think you're saying you're in a room full of people, a group chat full of people, and it's all bots.
Yeah.
That's a very, But how I think is, Days, and this, I mean, maybe I'm foolishly optimistic, but I think we win in the fact of, and this, me and my friends joke about this, I call it square business. You know what I'm saying? Being square.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the new cool. Like, being square is the new cool. And there's an undercurrent just to bring the conversation 360. And quote unquote Black people, there's an undercurrent of this is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the pendulum is going to swing back the other way. And the reason why I say that is the 1920s brought on the 1950s of ultra conservatism, of your great grandma might have been a flapper, but your great grandma was, you know what I'm saying, was a church going, no card, playing cards in her house, none of that, you know what I'm saying, none of that secular music kind of person.
Yes.
So I think it's going to be a generation following up that's going to be ultra conservative because they see how ridiculous it is. And that's my hope. Now we got to be careful that we don't become fascists.
Yes, I was just going to say that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I think where we say, you know what, we can be conservative in the sense of modesty.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I mean, I think they use the wrong word when they say conservative. We're talking about modesty
and humility.
Yeah, and humility. Make that cool.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with going to work and doing a 40-hour job and coming home and being in a monogamous relationship, and building something from nothing to something. That's the new cool. And we see it all around us. I mean, all the television shows, people, these fixer-uppers,
yes.
These things that needs to become the new norm and in our culture.
I agree with that 100%, man. And I think you're onto something there. And I look at it as Generation Alpha playing a big role in that. I think there will be a type of renaissance because I think by the time Gen Alpha becomes like, in their 20s and 30s, they're going to go against the AI stuff. They're going to go against all the connectivity, and they're going to want to get back to more natural stuff. And I think a part of that will also be more traditionalism. And we already see that happening right now, actually, with at least a portion of Gen Z coming back to scriptures, becoming, more humble, more modest in their dress, reading scriptures, getting back to the Bible, trying to live in a way that's honest and kind of giving up on the world. And when I say giving up on the world, I mean not living for a lot of this like mainstream, flashy flexing culture, like that a lot of these mainstream celebrities promote, like fashion or cars and all of that stuff. It's like what you're saying, there needs to be this culture of cool that makes being normal and just honest, modest, and humble. That's cool. Less is more kind of cool. And I don't mean like you will own nothing and be happy. Less is more.
It's counterculture.
Yeah.
It's the counter to the culture.
Yes.
Counter is, and we got to be careful too of this trad wife, because that's the machine itself. It's like, okay, we see a space, they're trying to get into, so let's create the trad wife and this, this weird hyper gender roles.
Yes.
No, it's a team. You know what I'm saying? Like showing two people, y'all get together early, you find the value in each other early, and you build something together. And if we do that, now, and we lay that example down, the young people are going to gravitate towards us and like, oh, how do you do that? How do you, it's going to be a struggle. You let them know it's going to be a struggle. You're going to have one car. You have to share the car,
Yeah.
Because I went through this.
Stuff we had to do. Exactly.
Yeah. Your wife's going to drop you off at work. You know what I'm saying? and you're gonna be there. You're saying until she come back and get you, and that's normal.
Normal.
Not being up to your eyeballs in debt, and you move into a house that you had to paint, and and do certain things, and it's because it's the journey. It's not the destination.
Mm-hmm.
And when you really drill that home, I think that's the candle that draws them in. It's like to the moth. It's like, they come in like, oh, okay, I see you. You're happy. It's because the happiness. You don't have very much, but you're happy. How do you do that?
Yes.
And go ahead.
Yeah, because it's going to be a different time. What we're being shown, especially right now, through a lot of the influencers, right? Like recently, there was the Tate thing, and even some of these streamers, they're just constantly flexing this lifestyle of abundance and this just excess, that's problematic because that's not a future that's coming now. Sure, automation and a lot of these things will be bringing different aspects of abundance, but when it comes to this materialism, I think that a lot of kids today are being drawn to because of the influence, especially some of these current celebrities. That's problematic because that's not a real life. Like, there's this whole thing, or it's not a reality, should I say, for these young people. A good example is this whole like kind of fresh and fit thing going on right now. And I think they're a really good example of a total like psyop where they're presenting a lifestyle, a pursuit in life that's not reality, right? It's a tiny microcosm of men that choose to live a certain way is being presented as this kind of like normal, cool thing to be, and that's not the case at all. When you think about all of the young men that look up to these individuals, none of them live these lifestyles. None of them even will have the opportunity to do so. So them being a good example, the Sexy Reds being another one where it's like, this is not any way any woman should be living, right? No woman should be trying to live this way, yet she is a symbol, a role model for young women and now even little girls. So it's like the messaging going on in the culture right now is very unhealthy, problematic, counterproductive. But if we can get away from these types of messages and make what you're saying be the norm and accepted as something that's valuable, opposed to what is the case now, the only things to people that are valuable is excessive, extreme living. It's like
decadence.
There we go. Decadence. Yes. And it's going, man, it's going to be difficult for the younger generations that think this stuff is real.
The only problem with that is you can't live off that diet.
Yeah.
You can't live. That's not a sustainable lifestyle. And people are not really honest about that. And I wish more people our age and maybe that, like I said, I don't know how you are. I think you're about 40, right?
Yeah, I'm the exact same age as you.
Right.
Yep.
I think people our age really need to be honest. The ones that live that hedonistic lifestyle and tell the ones that are late, anywhere from 20 to maybe early 30s, like, if you can get out of it now. Find something meaningful. This ain't the way. No, this is kind of like how it was with drug dealers. Like, hey, I'm out here, but you gonna go to school.
Yeah.
And run them off the block. We need to have that same kind of mentality. Like, I'm out here, I messed up. I ain't gonna let you mess up. And this is how we change the culture. But like I said, they're sending out some false prophets and shepherds as well with that kind of message, and it still has the New World Order kind of leaning to it as well. It's like, we need to be hyper conservative, and while we're at it, let's do some eugenics. It's like, how do we get there? So I challenge people, like, don't let other people fall into your mistakes. don't. I mean, that's all I can say. Just don't do it. You owe that responsibility.
That's well said. That's very important, man. I just wish more men, especially, and women, but men, in that we are the leaders. I wish more men spoke this way.
Me and you, we are literally the leaders, because the generation, say 25 years, you know what I'm saying? So that's what, 68? What do they lead? They lead through wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they can't actually lead on the battlefield.
Yeah.
We're in, you know what I'm saying? We're blessed enough to be, you know, have parents and children, that age group,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and old children.
Yeah.
So we're in the spot. It ain't no it's coming. No, we're in. The throne is ours.
We're that generation.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. It's our responsibility. Yeah.
Now, where the trick comes in there is with the delayed, what they call it, arrested development. We don't feel it, but chronologically,
yeah,
we're there.
No, you're right. You're absolutely correct, and I think that's why we do what we do. In part, we know this is our duty, because
if we don't do it, who is going to do
who's
it?
Who's going to do it? Yeah, yeah. It's Gen X, man. It's on our back, really. And now the millennials are playing a role too.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a different perspective that's important for this time. So yeah, man. Definitely agree with you there.
Like I said, to bring it full circle, this is how we eliminate the degeneracy.
I mean, it's very ideal, and I agree. But it's like there's just such a machine we're up against. You know, I really like Fuller's concept of constructive duties. You know, and making sure everything you do is constructive. I honestly try to live my life this way as well, and I know that's wisdom. But how does this become a cultural, as you said, a cultural norm? How does that part happen? And I think through influence, the only way. But slim pickings out here, man. Ain't too many of us speaking like this.
Can I be honest with you? And this is a conviction of mine and everybody my age. We allowed it.
Yeah.
We're the ones that supposed to be able to cook out. If y'all don't cut that mess off,
mm-hmm.
we're the ones. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're the ones supposed to say that. Not be dancing to stay young. Like, everybody got this fear of getting old. I don't. I tell my wife, I'm a young old man. I can't wait to get old enough, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like a grandpa would, you know what I'm saying? Say, get off my grass, you know what I'm saying? Turn that down.
Mm-hmm.
So we're here. We're here now. If you're at the cookout and Sexy Red being played and the babies is walking around, turn it off.
Absolutely.
It's that simple, you know, but a lot of people, oh, well, I don't want to be the old uncle. I don't, you know what I'm saying? No, what? You're derelict of your duty.
Yeah. Yes. I'm with that, but that's a tall order, man, because it's culture now. This these messages, this music, and to take that position, I mean, oh, you know, you're a prude, you know, you uptight, you know, it's just music. Why you tripping? You know,
Days, I embrace that. I told you this is square business. Like, when I say that, we standing on square. Turn it off.
I mean, I don't have no problem standing on, not at all. Like, yeah, call me square, but I'm saying like the general population, like everybody else, I ain't gonna let none of that stuff being played anywhere near me and my family. But I'm just saying, what about the general population? How does this become something?
Well, it becomes, like I said, now we're the counterculture. And everybody wants to be like the counterculture. That's how it becomes counter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like the old, you know, the old soul, they say old soul, that's the desired thing. Like, now we got a bunch of old people that want to be young. That's the real problem. Let's just be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It ain't the teenagers that's making Sexy Red popular.
Right.
Because teenagers don't have the money to buy her concert tickets. It's either parents that don't want to be seen as lame, buying it for their kids, or old aunties. You know, let's just be, this kid call a spade a spade.
No.
I want to stay in touch with the kid. I don't want to stay in touch with the kids.
Especially this generation, man. Oh my goodness.
I want to be the one when I come in, you turn it down naturally. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, here he come. Like Bertie Mac, him downstairs. Yeah, him downstairs. Yes. It sounds crazy, but that's where we at.
It don't. It's just a tall order. That's it. It's just like I look around and oh man, like this whole idea of codification and all that, and like, well, I guess we got to start somewhere. Got to start somewhere. I know we wanted to wrap up before we got a little bit more time. It's been 2 hours now. We did get quite off topic with this first one.
No.
But well, we got off topic of the clips and everything that I have set up, but the conversation has definitely been related though. Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
No,
like
no,
I said,
no problem.
I vibe, you know, and the vibe is right now, days, we got to call a spade a spade. This is how you defeat, go to your cookout and pull rank.
I think this is
not start conflict. What I'm just saying
it's a good message.
Look at the babies.
Yes,
the babies is right here. You're playing this. Be respectful. Go around the corner with the weed, like you're supposed to. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Keep that out. Yeah, that's a good point. What happened to that? What happened to respecting the presence of children?
And elders.
And elders, exactly. When it comes to things like sexual behavior, or smoking weed, or smoking cigarettes. You know, it blows my mind. You'll be out somewhere and there's little kids around and people just blowing right there. It's like, come on, man. There's children here. What happened to that?
Like around the corner, it tells them, even if they go do it, like this ain't acceptable. Yeah, you should be ashamed. You should hide when you do this behavior.
Yes, you should hide. You should be ashamed to do that in front of people. And you know, I had my time when I was involved with that stuff. And you know, we all grow up. But
right.
You know, if you're going to be honest and mature about it, that's what you do. You go do that on your own time by yourself. And there was a time where we had no choice because of the law. It's a little different now, especially in California. I mean, damn, you could smoke a blunt anywhere.
Right.
It's crazy. Like,
and then your uncle will come down and, hey, wait, what y'all doing down here?
Yes.
He would even come around the corner. You got to hide from that.
Yes.
Because that was reinstilling in your brain, this is not right. This is not acceptable. Put that beer in a cup. Your grandma used to tell you that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want people over, the neighbors think we over here some drunks. Put that beer in a cup. And these are things that are lost. And they're lost because they're not cultural norms that were carried on.
There we go. They weren't carried on. So the question is, what made them fall away? And it's a mixture of the music, of course, Hollywood, and I think the introduction of the internet that turned into social media. Just as you were saying with our phone conversation, the concept of time. Our experience with time changed. And so now that our experience with time changed, our memories change, right?
Right.
So we forget things and we're given new information and new examples of things, which creates new culture. And before you know it, we're transformed in a completely different type of people across the board. And certain types of behavior are made cool and acceptable, and the previous or prior respected forms of behavior are looked down on. Like, oh, that's, you know, y'all just some old heads, you know.
Why is that a bad thing? We had our run. And this is what I mean by delayed or arrested development, and this delayed, I wouldn't even say adolescence, because it's not a child thing. It's that people get in their 20s and it sticks until they're like 60.
Yeah. Well said.
There's
yes.
Even in the garments, you know what I'm saying? Like your grandma and your aunties had certain clothes with the big costume jewelry, you know what I'm saying, from Kato's. You know what I'm saying? Now everybody got body conscious dresses on. And you know what I'm saying? And the men dress the same from 20 to 50. You know what I'm saying? Like wear the leather sandals. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying,
yeah,
age appropriate attire.
There is a psychological thing about that, and I think that's what you're getting at. Your dress plays a role within your identity, and your identity is a key driver of your behavior. So yes, man, it is true. You know, and I know there's a lot of arguments against that. It's like, oh, you know, what is the Bill Cosby thing, right?
Right.
Yeah, and people always used to rag on him for saying stuff like that. But there's some truth in that. You know, you take a little more responsibility in how you hold yourself. Your behavior will be more respectable. You'll be more mature. And it isn't to say people can't be mature and still dress young, but I think overall your point is that there is a trend and there's a pattern where more people are not just dressing young, but also are expressing immature behavior, which is
right. It comes in a package deal.
Yes.
And which really that comes with the mating rituals, because you got a lot of people older in age that are still going through the dating phase. So, you know what I'm saying? So you have to stay young to look young, you know what I'm saying? To feel young, to, you know, it's the whole
yeah.
We'll be here all night trying to diagnose this, but it comes out in our appearance. You know, uncles wore what they wore because they weren't trying to attract attention, you know?
Yeah.
They wanted to look nice, but they weren't going through a dating ritual. And most of the time, they wife picked their clothes, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like when you get a certain when you get a certain age, you wear what you get for Christmas and birthdays and stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of, oh, what's your wife buy you? You know what I'm saying?
Especially,
that kind of thing.
more old school. You don't go shopping.
No.
Like, you don't do that. Yeah. You might go buy some like yard tools or something, you know.
Yeah.
Some for
shop for comfort.
Some for the car, you know. Yeah, you're not going out to the mall getting fitted. That's more of a young man's thing, but that's different. It's different now, though, right? When we think of the culture, right, how fashion has really changed quite a bit. And
is there a fashion though? I mean, like that's the other. I mean, we can go now.
There's fashions, you know, with an S, I'd say. Sure. Yeah.
It's like hoodies and skinny jeans. Like, I mean, no, we had fashion, and I got to sound old now. You know what I'm saying? But it was trends. Like, I think we're stuck in like a loop of fashion even.
Yeah, it's weird. It is weird. Well, when you see the young guys, and there's genres, right? There's definitely genres, right? But if we look at the more hip hop influence kind of fashion, yeah, it seems to still be this kind of skinny jean thing, which I thought played out like 10 years ago. But that's still heavy. And it's weird. The skinny jeans with the hoodies, yeah, that's real big with the young guys. And the big oversized shoes. I don't mean disrespect, but they kind of look like cartoon characters running around, like Johnny Bravo or something. You know, the big upper body with the little stick legs.
Right.
You know, it's just strange. And I guess we dressed strange back in the day with all the baggy clothes and stuff. So, you know.
Yeah, we went to the other extreme. You know what I'm saying? Too much fabric.
Yeah, way too much fabric.
way too much fabric. But I'm just saying, like, I don't think we have a healthy age appropriate transition, you know. And like I said, I like to look nice. I'm not going to front. I like to dress, but I know when something's past me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, I'm out that game now.
Yeah.
Even the color shoes, you know what I'm saying? I like sneakers, but it's like that's too many colors.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's too much going on.
I know what you mean. When it comes to fashion, though, I believe fashion is extremely subjective. Now, there's different ways to go about it. I do understand some people approach fashion in a way that's very trendy. Like they'll follow certain trends, or they will adhere to certain scenes and kind of just like mimic a look. But then there's people that are into fashion that might have way more of a sense of fashion and actually design a personal kind of set of looks that pulls from different areas. You know, these are people that are, you know, into all of the fashion. I don't mean the trendy stuff that you see the celebs wearing, but I mean people that are actually involved with brands, and I don't mean like designer brands. I don't mean expensive brands, but I mean more like independent brand. There's a lot of different fashion and different types and ways. Someone had mentioned baggy clothes is back in, and that's true. You see Drake presenting that. You see all of the rappers doing that now, wearing the oversized jeans, the oversized pants. I mean, they get everything from Japan and all of that stuff. But there is a lot of different realms in fashion that I can appreciate, but what I it's unfortunate that it's become a thing that it's just over the top now. It's just way over the top, and things are way too expensive, and I think people they rely on these types of things too much for their identities. And I guess it's always been the case, but it's much more pronounced now. And I think the constant social media culture and the exposure and the posting and look what I'm wearing today and all of these cultures, I think it just kind of makes it all a little extreme. It's extreme to me. The extreme as an overall issue in many different areas. Everything is just really extreme now, over the top.
Peacocking is necessary. That's what I'm talking about. Mating rituals. You want to draw attention to yourself when you're trying to draw the attention of, of a potential partner. So that's natural.
Yes.
Where the unnatural part is when you're past the age where you shouldn't be peacocking anymore, and you still are.
That's a very good point. The peacock phenomena. I agree. There we go. That's a good way to break it up. Yeah.
So, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Your hair, you know what I'm saying? I got to make my hair different so I stand out.
Yeah.
I got to make my clothes different so I stand out. That's peacocking. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when you walk in a room of others, potential competitors for the opposite, you know what I'm saying, for the opposite sex, you stand out. It's like, oh, okay. And whether it be cologne or whatever else, you know what I'm saying? But now it's like everybody's still peacocking. And like now the kids don't even have anybody to learn the proper roles from, so I can't, that's why I can't beat up on them, because they don't have any examples.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Yeah.
When you go to like grandma, mama, you know what I'm saying, and the old daughters all look the same. When 20 years ago, it would be a clear, distinction. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Grandma will look different from the mama, which would look different from. And the way you can tell this is when you go in stores, there used to be sections like this. They had, you know what I'm saying, the grandma section. They had the mama section. And then they had, you know what I'm saying, and the young people section.
That's funny. Yeah.
That doesn't exist anymore. Everybody's buying off the same rack.
That's a really good point. And that kind of speaks to my idea of the kidult, where it's like where the space between adulthood and childhood is vanishing. Mm-hmm. And so children are being exposed to more adult themed things and are growing up faster and kind of being parentified. And older adults are becoming less responsible, more immature, taking less accountability, less responsibility, and becoming more childlike. And part of that is this mixture of, or should we say this kind of like flattening of dress, where little kids are dressing just like adults, right? And like adults are dressing just like the young people. And
the old people are dressing.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Everybody got the same thing on. It's like,
it's interesting.
Yeah. So how are the kids supposed to learn? Where's the maturation process at? And that's what I'm saying. People our age, not just me and you, but we have to be the ones of getting it back on track. Of saying, I'm going to be the solution to the problem.
Yeah. I mean, we could do our best to represent that part of I guess the solution. Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And trust me, I love my hoodies. I mean, I'm not giving up my
Oh, I
hoodies
got
for
a lot of
nobody.
I got tons of hoodies.
Yeah, they're very functional.
I
You know what I'm
dress
saying?
very
Don't wear a
simple,
hoodie
man.
because you're saying where you're supposed to have a button-up shirt is my point.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, absolutely.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like it's like you dress you dress for the occasion, you know?
Right.
Yeah. I got all kind of hoodies, man. I got a lot of stuff. But yeah, you dress for the occasion. You gotta have your button ups and your dress shoes and it's just we're going to a different time. A lot of these ideas we have are just going to be obsolete, man. And unless there is a type of renaissance where people start going back, which they will. How big of a movement will that be? Find out. But
I'm putting my money, and then like I said, I might be foolishly optimistic, but I'm putting my money on there's gonna be a pendulum swing. But my biggest fear is ultra conservatism.
Yeah.
That's my big, like, if I'm gonna sound an alarm on anything and way the tech goes into that social credit score, looking in your, like, oh, you used to dress like Sexy Red back in 24. And that haunts you.
They're already doing that now, though, you know, with going back in people's social media posts and pulling up stuff from them 10 years ago and trying to judge them on that. I mean, that's already happening now. So I think that's the direction we're going, especially with like AI, how this is developing and how, you know, the digital IDs and all of these things. So yeah, our footprints, our historical data, all of these things could easily be used against us. But I really pray things don't get to this type of hyper conservatism, fascism, and the other way too, this like overt hyper progressivism, which is, I think, on its way out because it's falling apart. I think if we look at like 2015 to 2018, where the progressive movement was just going ham. That after COVID, that's starting to dial back now. The conservatism is coming. Got the trad movements. You got a lot of the religious movements now. So we definitely are going towards conservatism. We probably have a Republican coming in as president. Trump's probably going to be president. So, I mean, we are definitely going that direction for sure. And I think it's rational given what progressivism has done over the past 100 years, you know?
Right.
But it could go too far, though. It could go too far.
That's what scares me.
Yeah.
Could you imagine all the things that you highlight? And like I said, I'm not talking political. I'm talking about a purity test thing of all the apparatus you talk about, but with a purity test apparatus. If I'm trying to find the words for it. Like, okay, let's look into, like, okay, say we're in 2040 now, and the pendulum swung back, and they start looking back in 2024, and it's, oh, you posted this on social media, you had an OnlyFans, now you're in the ghettos. Now you're in the, like, you follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, oh, you smoke weed. Oh, you know, that kind, because that's what the 1950s was.
Yes.
I mean, like, when you watch those television shows, like, oh, you slept in the bed with it. You were saying in the same bed with people. We don't do that in 2024, in 2040. That's what scares me. Because they're building the apparatus, but what will be the ideology behind it?
Yes, man. And I think that's definitely coming, but it's not going to be universal. I think there will be certain, you know, whether they be, like, say for a certain company to work for, they might have that type of policy. You know, I'd hate to believe that's going to be a universal kind of thing, but that is coming.
I do,
for sure. And
I do. You know why I do, Days? And we can agree. I'm saying disagree, but I'm gonna just get to my why I get to this point. The progressives are not going to be here. They're not having kids.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, you're right. They are breeding themselves out, or should we say, they're going to die off. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you gonna have conservative to ultra conservative. Like the other side of the spectrum is gonna be either because you shift right as you get older.
Yeah.
So the kind of
Absolutely.
progressive people are gonna shift to moderates.
Mm-hmm.
And the hyper conservative, hyper progressive liberals, the alphabet people, the do what you will, you know what I'm saying, kind of people, they're going to be so whacked out that they're going to not exist in the next 15 to 25 years.
This is true.
That scares me.
Yeah. Now that I think about that, that is kind of scary, man. It's going to be a different demographic, for sure. Like, think about 20 years from now, 30 years from now. Wow, it's going to be a completely different demographic.
Elon's world.
Yeah, Elon's world. And there's going to be a large population of, I don't know what they'd call it then because the definitions and terms will change. But there will be a large population of mentally ill people. And not mentally ill in the ways we know today, but novel mental disorders that will be results of all of the technologies that will be operating in people, right? So that, and that might even be more reason for bringing these super fascist, hyper conservative systems because of all of that, right? It's like there's all of these new populations of people who are suffering from all of these things. We have to have these like high power cybernetic control systems to maintain, proper behavior and to maintain order, that. And I mean, I was speaking about this when I was, when they were doing the whole, what is it? Defund the police thing. And I was like, look, you guys know what this is going to do. They're just going to create AI systems and robotics and put them in the hood, man. And everyone's going to be under these massive control systems, which is just a type of hyper conservatism. Law enforcement. So yeah, I think you're right. Actually, I could easily see this happening. For just
now, you're spot on and I don't challenge anything you say about the apparatus that's being built. Oh. It's very invasive. But what's the I just have a different view on the ideology that powers it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna be, a super woke.
No.
No.
I honestly don't really know what the ideology is gonna be. I've yet to really make a decision on that because things are going to be so different culturally at that. So yeah, I don't really know, but I don't think it'd be progressive in that. So then what it'd probably be like hyper conservative, like fascist, but not in what they would call Christianity fascist, but in some new type of some new fascism. That's like you said, Elon's world, right? Like transhuman fascism, transhumanist fascism.
Right. It's your duty to do these things.
Yeah. Yeah, man. What was that movie? Star Troopers, with
well, the one that comes to mind for me is Demolition Man.
Oh yeah, there we go. Demolition Man. Yeah.
Because you remember you couldn't cuss, you couldn't touch.
Yes.
You couldn't even nothing was allowed. The food, meat was out.
Bro, wow, that's a good point. And you know why I think that is a lot more likely? It might have less to do with ideology than biosecurity, right? But like this new world system that makes everything sterile, such that we can't spread disease, right? So this new type of hyper conservative fascism is employed to keep people safe and healthy, right? It might not necessarily have some type of political or religious ideology behind it, but it's more practical. It's more utilitarian in that sense.
And I'm gonna give you. I think you hit it right. I think sterile is the word. It's so super clean.
Yeah.
no gum on the street,
like like unnaturally clean.
But what are they doing
like a
to
hospital
make that happen?
when you go into a
problem
hospital?
Reaction solution, right?
Yes.
It's let the cities get dirty, let needles everywhere, you know, dirt. And it's like the whole thing, right? It's just look how dirty it is. Well, what do we need to do? These people don't know nuance and they don't have a touch. You know what I'm saying? Like it's either one extreme or the other extreme. And they're letting it go to the one extreme where everything's dirty, filthy, unsanitized. So then they can come in and be hyper. And then, like I said, I'm completely speculating here. But you got to think in the 1950s, you used to have to get a blood test to get married. That's something we don't do anymore now.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Like you got sickle cell, you got mental health. You're like, that was, because I was thought out. I was like, I didn't get a blood test when I got married, like, but my parents did.
You know, I was making this point quite a bit during the like COVID years, but we're moving towards that kind of thing. And a good example for that is the film, the short film, or it's like not a short film, but like an indie work, THX 1138.
Let me write it down.
Yeah, you got to watch that. Watch that film, and I believe we will be seeing a future that has some elements of that film. At least I can't say will because I don't know, but it's definitely being set up this way. After what I've witnessed over the past 4 years, the biosecurity efforts, the mRNA, just the whole concerted effort, this like international lockstep movement towards this type of biosecurity, that film is definitely a foreshadowing the future. Watch that. That's George Lucas's. It was like when he was in like film school or something. I think he made that. It's not exciting, you know. It's kind of dry and slow, but the message, the imagery, it's deep, bro. Deep.
And you know the justification for things like that? Sexy Red. I don't think she's the problem. Like, I don't think she's the problem in the sense of how we think she's the problem.
There's a deeper problem. Yeah, go there.
Right. She's the problem that we need to react to bring the solution in. And I'm telling you, there's an undercurrent. I'm talking to black people, and they're okay with it. I mean, we've been here before with the 94 crime bill. It's the reason why that bill got passed. Because black people on the board were like, look, we can't walk down our streets. You know, we can't go outside. We're sleeping in our bathtub due to gunfire. You know, our kids is hooked on crack. Do something. They said, all right, we'll do something. And it was draconian laws. There was overkill. And I think we're setting up for that again. And black people are asking for it. Just read the comments on YouTube. I think YouTube is one of the best indicators for where the people are going.
Yeah.
Because
it's a tool for sociology. Yeah, definitely.
The comments are decentralized. Your comments are not tied to you. Right? You can't go and see what all comments Days made or all comment Mo made. They're all spread out across all the videos. So you can be a little bit more honest than your centralized social media like Twitter, Instagram, you know what I'm saying? So people are a little bit more honest. Like, I'm tired of this. They need to do something about this, you know? And I'm reading and I'm looking, and like I said, we could be bots, who knows?
That's the hard part. Yeah, the bots, yeah.
But I'm just, and then that's just one data point. Then you factor that in with the overall tone of just like, this is getting too far out of hand.
I mean, and it is.
Right.
You know, I agree with you 100%. I think that is definitely a part of it. It's just the problem, reaction, solution. And I thought that had a lot to do with why they were letting these blue states and these like democratic cities fall apart. And they're making all these new laws where they're decriminalizing like heinous acts. And just, there's a new one in San Francisco. I got an article. I can't remember what it was, but pulled it recently, and it's something crazy. Like, They're like going to punish, like, I don't remember exactly what it was, but let's just say someone steals something from you and you try to retaliate, they're going to punish you, kind of thing, for retaliating. It's weird. It's
So
just
who
crazy.
do you have to ask to act on your behalf?
Mm-hmm.
The solution.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Problem reaction. Hey, like you said, the drones.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you really feel bad if we chip criminals?
Yeah. That's a easy way, man. Just like they do with the soldiers in the military.
Right.
DARPA has been testing all of their new transhumanist technology on the soldiers.
If you did a blind poll and asked right now with the comment what crime is at, say, you know what? And illegals too, factoring them as well.
Yes.
Do you really have a problem with chipping illegals and criminals? Do you really have a problem that I would put my money on people really wouldn't have a problem with?
They would vote for it.
Right.
They would say, what the hell's taking you so long? Why had you done this already? We'd get a handle on this crap.
Right.
Yeah.
You asked for it. You know what I'm saying? This is going back and bringing the conversation 360. When you feel like you don't have an option, the only option seems like a good option. And that's human. You know what I'm saying? That's human nature. That's like,
you're bringing it back to your first argument. Yes, man. Okay. Wow.
When you're stuck on a boat in the middle of the ocean, eventually you're going to drink salt water.
Facts.
Even though it makes you thirsty and kills you faster. But it's like, this is my only option. So this is what they're planning on that.
That's evil. That's so dark, man. Wow.
That's the next level evil right there. And I don't put it past them. To be honest with you, I do not put it past them. Chip them. You know, we like I said, the whole what we just went through is a perfect example. You know, you have to stay in your house these amount of hours. You're only allowed on the streets these amount of hours if you're chipped, if you're a criminal. It's gonna be like probation, you know what I'm saying, on steroids, or parole on steroids. And then you're gonna have your phone, like what they say, the sexual assault victim, what they call it, one of those people that do bad things to other people, that you can look in your phone and see live in your neighborhood. Now it's gonna be all criminals. Like, oh, this criminal's in sector 3. report on the app. Report, he's out of his zone. Yeah.
Oh man. Oh my goodness. It's crazy because they have all the tech they need to run those kind of systems now. Especially with the nano. I mean, they don't even need chips anymore. They got nano gels. They got nano machines. They could just put them right into your bloodstream. It's crazy.
And they got the people behind it that wants it.
Yes.
I see. I'm checking my app. Let me crime watch. You know what I'm saying? Crime watch.
Because it's peace of mind. Right? It's peace of mind. I can sit at home at night and feel safe. I know every threat around me. All I have to do is open up my app. And I see all the little red dots.
Oh, somebody's coming on the street.
Damn.
And we'll sign up for it. I can't even say I wouldn't. I'm just being honest with you, because like, look, we said we wouldn't put cameras on our house, but everybody got a Ring doorbell now.
Yeah, most people. That's true. I mean, this is something I was talking about with Hulk on our stream. You know, it's getting to the point now where, damn, all of this is just happening, and it's going to come to the point where we have to start making some decisions, man. Like, am I okay with this? Like, because everyone else is going to accept it. Everyone else is going to see no problem at all. But some of us are going to feel like, wait, this is a little invasive. I don't know if I want to rock with this. But
they're using the criminals as the apparatus to scare you into that.
Precisely. Like so you're going to be like, it's better off doing this. Otherwise, boom, boom, boom.
Like how they do the Ring doorbell. They showed in the local news. You saw just a rash of Ring doorbells catching people kicking in doors, Amazon drivers pooping on your step. You know what I'm saying? All kind of wild stuff. Like maybe I can get one of those Ring doorbells.
Hey, I'm telling you, I'm telling you, so many.
All in the place.
Yes, I've heard so many people say that. Like, you know, like they're stopping crime with that, or they're solving crimes with it. You know, and it's deterring crime too, because people know they're being watched. And I mean, we're really getting there. The full cybernetic surveillance panoptic state. I mean, that's coming. And that's something I was talking about with the facial recognition. They're now bringing it in as an option for domestic flights, not even international. It's optional for domestic flights now. just to board the damn plane. Well, you just want to match up your face with your ticket. It's like, nah, bro. You ain't got to do all that. But it's just optional now. But we already know how this stuff works. It's optional now before it becomes mainstream or just standard. And it's going to be standard because they're going to make some type of convenience about it. Just like they're going to use the criminals to scare you into it. They'll use convenience. Or otherwise you're going to have to wait in this line over there. And that's going to take 2 hours.
Here's the convenience. And this is how sick this system is. Like, I'm being honest. Like, I'm not siding with the system. I'm just pointing out how sick they are. Well, at least we ain't taking naked pictures of you like we used to.
Right? They gonna start being honest. They gonna start being honest about all the stuff they've been doing. But, oh, you think that's bad? Well, guess what we've been doing the past 20 years.
Right. That machine, the TSA used to put you in, they used to take naked pictures of you. This is progress.
We know all about y'all. Oh, man.
Freaking sick monsters, bro. I'm telling you, they are monsters, and we got to be careful with our consent.
Yes, man. Well said. Careful with our consent. Because our consent is going to be like nudged and persuaded, you know, through different means, whether it be fear or convenience. I think convenience is even stronger because fear is powerful. I have to remember that, but offering somebody something they want, probably a better route than trying to scare people, right? If you make people feel like they're getting a deal or they're going to experience some type of pleasure, it's kind of like Huxley or Orwell. I feel Huxley is always, it's a lot stronger. It's more powerful. Like Orwell is Orwell, but listen, people want pleasure. People are going to want to live in a life of pleasure opposed to a life of like fear and control. But you can still control someone through pleasure. Right? That's what makes the Huxleyan view more powerful, because control's on both angles. It's just in the Huxleyan world, they don't know they're being controlled. In the Orwellian world, they accept the control. They don't like it. They're stuck. You know what I'm saying? But
and pleasure could be something as simple as a peaceful night's sleep. We think about pleasure, you're saying like the carnal pleasure.
Lowering expectations.
Yeah. It's just like, I can just have peace of mind that, let me check the crime app one more time. Oh, no red dots.
Bro, that's a really good point. Because think about this. And I've actually been thinking about this recently. They're lowering our expectations for everything, right? Like by lowering the quality of everything. You think about certain like restaurants and certain food industries and even products. Due to inflation and many other things, they lower the quality of their materials so they can maintain some level of profit. So we end up getting a lower quality product. And over time, we kind of get used to this lower quality, and the quality keeps lowering and lowering. So then they could offer us higher quality things that seem more valuable than they actually are. They're not more valuable. They've just been lowering the quality of things so much that our expectations have changed, right? And this is a brilliant way to get over. And I see that happening in so many sectors and industries right now where like our quality of life and even our standards of living are like changing. And now we're just happy for the most simplest things. It's very Skinnerian, like B.F. Skinner. It's a type of conditioning. You slowly condition people to be comfortable with less and less or lower quality, and you could start to give them a false sense of value. Kind of like when people mark things up and then bring it down a bit, and you think you're saving, right? But you don't realize it's like marked up 3 times.
Right. Well, that's how they hit us with inflation, right? They stopped the supply chain.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just happy to have toilet paper. So I'll pay twice as much for it.
Yeah.
You take something away, people will pay twice as much to get it back.
Yes.
They won't make a fuss about it.
So if you make a situation where people are getting less quality sleep for whatever reason, they might not even be aware of something you're producing. It's say it's noise or what have you, and you make it possible that they could get better sleep, or certain nights of the week they'll get a really deep good night's sleep if they just sign up for this product or whatever. They'll do it because, oh yeah, I just want to get a better night's sleep. But it's like, you could have been sleeping fine. But
no red dots. I'm telling you. I can sleep well at night. No red dots.
And we don't even know if those red dots are legitimate, just like we don't know what them graphs meant in 2020. No one knows what those bell curves meant. Nobody knows what those test results meant. Right? But they were
the crime stories is so absurd.
Yeah.
You know, why are you letting people out of jail over and over and over and over again? That's too stupid to be stupid.
Yeah.
It has to be a rhyme to the reason, you know, it's to make it seem like things are going to hell in a handbasket. So now you're going to beg for your oppression, but we're going to make it pleasurable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're going to like it. I'm telling you, it's going to be great.
You'll love your servitude.
Yeah. Ain't that great? You said cameras on everywhere, but you know what? I'm glad I can feel safe. I can sleep at night.
I mean, that's where we're already kind of there. And I think the Ring cameras are a good example. It's like, for peace of mind, you have to give up privacy and freedom for security. And this is just a old philosophical kind of discussion, political philosophy, you know, this idea of freedom and security, and the foolishness of giving up freedom for security. And especially when security can be manipulated, right? Your sense of security can be manipulated. Like, say, changing laws so that so crime will increase. You know what I'm saying? So you could bring in security solutions.
Yeah, we're not, anything you steal anything under $1,000 is not, we're not coming out there.
I mean, come on, man.
It's not a crime.
Have you been to San Francisco?
I have not, and I won't be going anytime soon.
Man,
I'm aware. You know what I'm saying? But
listen, bro, it's changed so much. Like, I remember Market Street used to be bustling with all types of business and stuff, and the big corporate businesses are still there, of course. But a lot of the smaller companies and businesses are just all gone, boarded up. It's just crazy, man. It's still a very rich city due to its financial district, but there's so much more like normal aspects of the city has just disappeared, man. It's just crazy to me to see this. And it's like, you guys know, like, logically, these aren't good decisions. So that's how you know this is like a controlled demolition.
Demolition Man.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, that's prophecy. Watch that movie. It's prophecy.
I love that film.
It's rampant crime. I mean, like on a war, we're saying war level crime, not like petty crime. And then fast forward, everything is super sanitized. Even language. Yes. You know what I'm saying? You say a bad word. Oh, you can't say that. Yeah. You're fine.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely, we're going there. My thing is, how distributed is that going to be? You know, because like, if you like travel around, there's other places where I can't see this being possible, but in America I can, especially in like the big metropolitan areas. And I think this is part of the demolition too. They want to like tear it down so they could build back up these smart facilities and like kind of smart territories that can plug into these types of networking. I also think that's what a lot of those fires were about. So they can basically, there's going to come a point where all new infrastructure that's built is going to adhere to this type of like networking, Web3 kind of smart stuff. They want everything smart. So if you got all these buildings and all of these cities and infrastructure that's like old tech, and you want to literally transition to a whole new infrastructure, I mean, how are you going to do that in a short period of time without destroying it?
It's happening now.
It's
I live
happening.
in a rural area. I live in a rural area, and we had satellite internet when I first moved here. Now we got the good stuff, fiber. They're running fiber everywhere.
Wow.
Especially during this in the lockdowns, it wasn't that much traffic, which gave them the space to to really lay it down. So there's not going to be they're going, and that's the point. Also, is to spread the good people, what they call good people, spread them around. We don't want them all in the cities. We don't want all the productive people in the cities. We need to spread them around. So we got a lot of people coming out. I live in central DC. South, Northern Virginia, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Because like Northern Virginia is like its own thing, like DC. So now people can go, due to the fiber, they can come out here from DC. They're only an hour-away drive. And they bring that cosmopolitan lifestyle to a rural area. And it's spread, you spread it around.
Yeah.
And that's, I think it's like a redistribution of intellect, and what they call culture. Because like when you see it, like every main street in Virginia now, even to the smallest towns, has a blueprint.
Yes.
And I think it's going to be all across America, and it's really going to be the red states that benefit from it. Notice the blue states are burning, and the productive people are leaving to go to quote unquote red states. And I'm not getting political. I'm just telling you like how they're shifting. It's like it's spreading out. They're spreading the valuable people. Because if you're in a city, you got to be valuable, right? Because you got to have some kind of function in the city.
Yeah.
To pay that kind of rent and to live. It's like, no, we can't have them all on the same block and high rises. Let's spread that bad boy out. And I think that's the new model. Like I said, I've done a lot of speculation, but it's not just blind speculation. I'm just going by what they're showing us, and it's too stupid to be stupid to let all this crime be coming in. It doesn't make any sense at all. It makes
no sense because people are being harmed. Businesses are being destroyed. People are losing their livelihood, their lifelong pursuits in business. And I mean, all of these things just being destroyed. I mean, people that have lived in these areas for generations are being forced out. I mean, it's crazy to see it. So yeah, this is definitely being done on purpose. And I've read quite a bit regarding like progressive policy, and there's this historical position that wants to make the claim that they think they're doing the right thing, but it's like, come on, logic alone says otherwise. So it's like enabling diseased behavior is detrimental to progress. So why would you enable these behaviors? Like why would you lower? And I do understand they want to keep people out of prisons, or they want to reform the criminal law and all of that. I get those positions, but I don't think that's the right way to go. I mean, clearly it's not. And then when you look into the infrastructure and the redesign of cities they have, I mean, I have tons of paperwork on so many cities, major cities in the United States, and they all have these very similar smart, like build back, quote unquote, better initiatives where they're all trying to like reform, and like it's like a type of reconstruction, like a digital reconstruction. And it's happening across the United States. So interestingly, the red states seem to be, they're taking it on in a way that's like, this is a good thing. It's good for business. And it is. It's great for business. It's going to make money. Money will be made faster, right? But it's just the connectivity of it is a bit invasive. And my biggest issue with it is it aligns perfectly with a lot of the World Economic Forum stuff and the digital ID. And when you look at where all that's going, anyone in the right mind would say, hey, this isn't a good direction for freedom, for privacy, and personal autonomy. Screw you and your new capitalism and your new forms of money making. This is going to revolutionize how people operate on the earth. It's not cool. But the Republican and the red states aren't looking at it that way because, first off, the people aren't really informed, and it's going to be great for the business, for big business. And this is a big driver in conservative and Republican thinking. So
yeah, because the red states is getting a windfall in tax revenue.
Yeah.
And just not only just tax revenue, but also in quality of person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you look, I'm not speaking from my standpoint. If you look how they're just cut and dry with numbers. Like, we got a bunch of poorly educated people. We can have highly educated people coming here, motivated, bring business, bring stimulation to our areas. They're coming out of the cities. It's a win for us, quality people. And this how sick they are because they're so just indoctrinated with the scientific mindset.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they are who they are, Days. This is how they'll talk to you. They are who they are.
Yep.
Their parents were addicts. They're addicts. We're just accelerating it. Yeah, they could have been crackheads until they're 60 and die. We're going to give them fentanyl, you know what I'm saying, cut 20 years off of it.
It's amazing.
It's numbers to them. Yeah. It's just numbers.
It is. It's all quantification. It's all utility, right? Utilitarianism, pragmatism. I mean, this is the bread and butter American way. Pragmatism, utilitarianism, and science.
Mm-hmm.
Mixing with capitalism.
Because if you buy into Darwinism, that you are who you are due to genetics,
which is the foundation
nature,
of that.
No nurture. Yeah. Hey, we didn't do this to them. Their parents did this to them.
Mm-hmm.
We're just making them comfortable. It's like a extended hospice, basically.
Wow. Yeah.
And I mean, you have to understand these people. You have to really put yourself in their shoes. That way you can explain it to people like they're trying to kill you.
Basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't, like I said, didn't want to enter a negative note, but this is why you got to turn the sexy red off, folks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Go to the cookout, you know what I'm saying? and tell them, hey, take that around the corner.
Yeah.
And cut off some Frankie Beverly. You know what I'm saying? It's something that's family friendly.
Hey, you know what's hard though? Taking that position, this more traditional, conservative, socially conservative, not politically conservative, but socially conservative view. What's hard is it's getting like this really like negative connotation, becoming like, and as you said, you're fine with that, and I am too. But it's hard to sell it and to make it cool and to make it normal when it's being equated to like either an old way that doesn't have any meaning anymore, or it's even being related to, and this is something that frustrates me. It's almost in the Black community, it's viewed as almost like it's a white thing, to be proper or to be modest or to be humble, right? It's kind of crazy to put it that way, but like with the whole Bill Cosby thing, because he promoted that message and got a lot of flack for it, right?
But if you walk the walk and talk the talk, it'll speak for itself.
Sure.
Because people success, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Success speaks for itself.
Yeah.
And if people like, you know what? And I get this a lot, like, Uncle Mo, you know what I'm saying? Like, why ain't you like so-and-so or so-and-so? And they'll ask me, and I'm like, well, hey, I took the long road. I mean, it was, like I said, it was sometimes no vacation for a few years. One car for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of, not eating out, but that pays off in the end.
Yeah.
And that's what they respect is the results. So you can't talk the talk and not walk the walk.
Absolutely.
So first of all, you got to walk the walk before you talk the talk.
Facts. And I'll say this, and this is it's a good thing, but it's a difficult thing, right? Some of these younger people are going to be forced to get to understand this because they're not going to be able to live that life that they think they're going to be. But this isn't to say they can't live a very content and happy and valuable life, or not valuable, but high quality life. It's just they got to learn how to live. And I think what you're saying is this is how you live. This is how you succeed in this type of world. You got to turn some things back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Slow some things down, straighten some things out, and you'll be surprised how beautiful life actually is when you get out of that what some would call matrix, or that psyop, that this world is selling you. And I think that's what you mean. We have to present this view, walk it, not just talk it, of course. But what I'm saying is a lot of people are going to be forced to pay attention to that. So what I'm saying is I'm kind of almost correcting what I said before about negative connotation. The pejorative nature of this kind of view that is sticking now will vanish soon, because people are going to be forced to pay attention to this message.
Right, and it takes time to like smoking. Smoking used to be cool, but the effects of smoking and made people realize what a nasty habit it was.
Yeah.
To now where you can't smoke in public. So it's gonna take time. You know what I'm saying? If you said 20 years ago, put the cigarette out, like lame. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Or 30 years ago, like what are you? Some kind of square? That kind of thing. But I want to make this is my final point. I said it a couple times about this. You got to understand what this system rewards. It's families. When you have a family, you get tax breaks. You know what I'm saying? What they're doing is they're forcing you to cohabitate. This is why rent is doubling. There's no more single sex in the city.
Nope.
There's no more girlfriends. You know what I'm saying? There's no more of these TV shows that did that original programming. No. They're doubling the rent, so it takes 2 incomes to pay it. What does that mean? You can't have this extended run. That's a failed experiment. They're not telling you that, but the pressures are making you make decisions. Like, they find somebody and settle down. And they really want you to have kids because that's what that's what the interest usury is built off of.
Yeah.
We need money to loan. We need more people to loan money to, but we need quality people. So, like I said, this is eugenics. This is eugenics. They're getting rid of the undesirables and they're pressurizing the desirables to cut out this foolish, hedonistic, self-serving. It's like not like I think it was Kenny. Not what your country can do for you, but what can you do for your country? That's what's going on right now. I don't think people really understand it, and they can't really come out and say it. But that's the pressure.
Yes, man. Ooh, that's very deep, and you're touching on stuff we were talking about on the phone earlier that we weren't able to get to today. But man, we're going in on this whole eugenic thing. And this dynamic between dysgenics and eugenics in this process. Yes, because we are being pushed into this new system, and eugenics and dysgenics are a major part of the forming of this new culture, but also this new economy, these new markets, right? This new society they're preparing for us, and everyone feels it. At the economic level, we all feel it. Depending on where you live, some feel it a little more than others, right? Especially if you're talking about living in more blue state metropolitan areas, you definitely feeling it. And if you're young, single, you're feeling it.
And that's what the UBI is about. If you get 2 productive people together and they're productive and you give both of them UBI and they have one domicile, one set of bills, they'll figure it out. But if this is not my word, but if you accept the loser path, it's like, okay, yeah, we'll give you just enough to not even survive. You know what I'm saying? Like to What's the word? Less than survive. You know what I'm saying? Just exist.
Yes. Speaking to this idea of like lowering the quality of life, standard of living, lowering your expectations so you'll be happy with these crumbs.
Mm-hmm.
And people will be willing to give up their freedoms, their privacy, their autonomy just for a UBI check every month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we're on the ocean, folks. There's no denying it. We're at sea. You got to build you a seaworthy vessel.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, you can fight the sea all you want to, but I mean, the sea is the sea.
Yeah, it's really building, right? It's being aware, understanding how all of this is moving and operating, and and knowing how to build within it. Because people who understand how this stuff works are going to be able to survive and excel. Believe that. But it's going to take work and understanding, ingenuity, all of these things. They are banking on people giving up. They are banking on people listening to Sexy Red and watching I Show Speed every day for 5 hours a day. They're banking on people doing nothing but just, vegging out, inhaling and absorbing mindless, degenerate content. So they'll have all of these bodies freed up for these systems because they need our bodies. They need the energy. They need the data. They need us to run these systems. So those who work outside of that and who understand what's going on and make moves, we'll have a totally different experience over these next decades coming.
Right. And these people think they're gods, so what they built is a thresher. They're separating the wheat from the tare. And in their sense of it.
Yes.
Now, this is not biblical. No.
Yes, I know what you're saying. No, I know what you're saying.
What I'm saying is this is their version of it, which that's why it lacks compassion. It's very cut and dry. We need to separate the winners from the losers, and we need to do it ASAP.
Mm-hmm.
And they understand that, and that's why, and like I said, they need less is more. That's their motto, like less is more.
Yes.
Which I'm just telling you, like, it is what it is, and I wish I could tell you something different. That's just, like I said, from my perspective. But just be prepared. I mean, we say provision, like prepper, you know what I'm saying, like that kind of thing. I'm sure people have water and food, that kind of thing, but you have to prep from the long haul too.
Yes, spiritually, because that's the only thing that will allow you to really maintain yourself, at least from my view. You got to lean on Christ and have that faith, because this world is definitely changing.
You better have your ark ready.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Your ark better receive it. You know what I'm saying? It's going to get rough.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other side, we know, you know what I'm saying? The rain don't last but for 40 days and 40 nights.
Mm-hmm.
So you better make sure your ark is sealed and seaworthy.
Amen to that. All right, man. Well, we hit our 3-hour mark. This was great, man. We definitely went on some tangents, but I think we really set up this conversation that we'll be fleshing out over however many streams it takes. But I think we got started off on a good foot, man.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, like I said, I'm sorry to go on tangent, but like you say so much stuff that, you know what I'm saying, like the neurons be firing, and it's like, okay, you have to speak on it, at that point.
No, I love it,
man. It might be lost.
Yeah, I love it, man. And you know how I do. We can go all over the place, man.
Right.
And we're flowing with the ideas, but we're sticking to, we're going in a certain direction with it that will definitely take some time and several talks, which is fine with me, because this is all very edifying and fun. Very fun and exciting to talk about these things with you and share them with our community, man. And all y'all in the chat, all the mods, everybody listening who's been with us the whole time, man. We appreciate you guys. We thank you guys for joining in the chat, chiming in, having your own conversations. Just makes this thing real, right? So any last words you want to say, man, before we get out of here?
I appreciate the nudge to have this conversation. I think it's a very necessary conversation. And as people say, be the change, be the change you want to see. Amen. That's what we have to be. I appreciate Days.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I got an entire another stream of examples and articles and videos and clips and photos that we can get into on the next one as we flesh this concept out of Black dysgenics and new eugenics, as well as new cultural movements that are happening that are tied to much bigger things that we're going to try to at least paint a picture of understanding. So I appreciate you guys, man. I will see you guys next time. Peace and blessings to you all. Make sure to go over there and subscribe to MOE FACTZ channel. You got a bunch of great podcasts and shows and content over there discussing similar topics. So show the brother some love. And again, I thank you all in the chat, everyone here. Peace and blessings to you all. If you enjoyed the work, you want to donate, you want to support the work, please do. Links in the description. If you want to join the Patreon or the locals for more extended content and lecture series from yours truly, be sure check it out. I'll see you guys soon. Peace and blessings to you all.